Oh,
All
hey
right, live on
everybody.
my channel also.
We are here. We are live on the Razor Crank Twitch channel and also on JDF.Dodgeball's YouTube channel. And I'm hanging out here with two friends. We got JD, as you've heard here before. Say hello, JD.
Oh, what is up? And we do have a special guest with us. Special guest, can you introduce yourself, if you please?
I don't know if special's the right word, but my name is Halen Sky, and I'm a Canadian dodgeball player here to offer my perspective on both the women's side and the Canadian teams.
Excellent. Which is exactly what we need. Is we need a little bit more insight and more expertise, even if you don't want to call it that. We definitely like having more people on, and thank you for joining us. We've been wanting to do this for a minute since we did the last one about Tucson, which JD and I have been bragging about on the internet. We got 3 out of the 4 teams in the semifinals correct for both open and women's, and then we correctly predicted the finals and the winners. So we're hoping to see if we can pull off the same thing for the thing.
Oh, that's really impressive, actually.
Right? We did a
Thank
pretty
you.
good job. I'm very proud of us. Oh, we've already got some comments. We got Philip J. Fry. Yes, John Carpenter's The Thing is excellent. Uh, yes, Canadians hanging out, Plant Girl. And how do you actually pronounce that, Dustin? I know that's you. And why weren't you invited? Like we invited you, and if we didn't, sorry. The group chat definitely was talking about it. Our bad. Um, so, uh, Halen, was that correct? Did I say that right?
Yeah, after Van Halen.
Okay. Really? After Van Halen?
Correct. My mom's a rocker.
Oh my God, I love that so much. Okay. Um, so, so that's going to be fantastic. Looks like we temporarily just lost JD, which, that'll happen. But, what was I going to say? Uh, I love Van Halen, so that's kind of phenomenal. Um, I just lost my train of thought. What team do you play for, or what teams do you play for in Canada?
So I represent Prince Edward Island on the Avonlea Armada. We have a slightly different system than other provinces and or American traditions, I think, where we have a high performance program and we all individually try out. And then we are selected to represent PEI by Dodgeball PEI and compete at nationals.
Okay. Well, that's
Hmm.
super cool.
Sounds pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, I've been on the team for 7, 8 years now, I think it is. Um, and for some context on like a higher level, I've played for Team Canada in 2017 at the World Championships. So I'm very familiar with a lot of the national level ladies.
Oh, well, that's amazing. Uh, Excellent. That's going to bring quite a bit of insight to our event today, which, as some people could see previously, I had it up on the screen. We are rocking a little bit. Oh man. So we're going to start with the women's division here. What is happening over on my computer? Okay, there we go. Um, as you can see, we got the teams listed here, but we also have Dodgeball Hub up so that we can investigate our rosters. Um, so, what do you guys think? Do you want to go through a little bit of roster information first before we jump into the teams? Or no, wait, that doesn't make sense. Before we jump into who we think?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think we can
definitely
talk
roster
about.
information first.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just go. Can I not scroll down any further? How did I? Okay. Well, we'll just move it up, maybe. Oh, that's going to be fun. All right. Well, you can kind of see the teams. Let's go ahead and just start here with Group A. We're going to go through Nemesis. If you guys want to go through it, that would be great. I'm going to try to get it to actually be on the screen. Which you guys, do you guys have that up? Do you have the thing, the Dodgeball
I
Hub?
have I have the spreadsheet with all of the listed
Okay. Dang it, I had this
players.
perfectly earlier.
The
There it is. All right.
All
I'm just
right.
gonna go silent for a second. Uh,
But I
so,
will say I am not familiar with Nemesis, other than Megan McCaffrey.
of course, JD, are
Hmm.
you still having technical difficulties, or are you there?
No, I'm still here. You said hold on for a second, so I
I
followed your lead.
No, I wanted you guys to keep talking so I could fix the visuals.
Okay, I followed it too literally. That's my fault. All right, Nemesis. Bit all over the place geographically. Uh, we have as Halen, Megan McCaffrey from Canada. Not sure which province she is.
Alberta.
Megan,
Yeah,
if you are somewhere watching this stream, sorry you could not make it, but thanks for everything you do for Dodgeball Hub. We got Tara somewhere from the East Coast. At least,
Hey,
right?
JD, we are
Plan B.
definitely struggling to hear you. You keep cutting in and out over here. Are you having trouble hearing him, Halen?
yeah, he's cutting in and out.
Super inconvenient. Okay, fun. Um, all right, boy. You guys, just so you guys know, I'm definitely not sweating over here being frustrated about technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties happen. It wouldn't be a stream without them, let's be honest.
That
All right,
does
what
seem
about
that
now?
way. Well, what I'm just going to do then, real quick, is I'm just going to read the roster. All right. So we got our. She was going to join us on this stream, but unfortunately couldn't. We've got Megan McCaffrey, Nemesis, and we've got Tara Pang, Cecilia Montes, Brittany Morales, Jesse Nakano, Kara Monroe, and Lene Christensen. I'm not totally sure how often this team has played together. I feel like some of these players aren't usually on this team, but they've been around for about a season, I think, at this point, with Nemesis in like their core as is.
Yeah, that is correct. Uh, this might be potentially their last tournament as well, based on what I've heard. The team decided to go their separate ways, uh, and just honestly, it did not seem like they were as cohesive on the court and off court last year. So, a bit unfortunate, but some teams they try to take a group of talented individuals and hope they become a team, and it just did not seem like they either had enough time to gel or they just were incompatible in terms of playing style.
That being said, they came fourth at nationals, didn't they?
Did but it seemed like they underperformed despite their potential.
Gotcha. So you would have probably had them going a little higher, but fourth at Nationals is one hell of an impressive run regardless.
It Yeah, I mean, for their first run as a team, that is very impressive. But the chemistry, it just seems like it needed more time to develop to really unlock everyone's full potential and the team's potential.
Gotcha. All right.
And do you
Well,
know how similar the current roster for the thing is to the roster that they had
Ah,
at nationals?
unfortunately, our research division is underfunded at the moment, so we don't have all of the history. Um, but I believe when you look at the roster, I
ah,
think in order to be a part of the thing, if I remember correctly in the rules, it has to be at least four members of the club team that competed that allowed you to be invited. Um, but I don't remember that for sure. All
Makes
right,
sense to me.
let's go ahead and take a look at North here, which once again it looks like a significant uh, roster change while still at the same time being that core team that they had? Uh, Kaylin, you want to just read these for me while I adjust something again?
Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm going to butcher these names because I do not know these women, but I will do my best. So we have Taylor Green, Rebecca Wen, Ali Pohl, Leah Thronquist, Tanya Kaiser Jerez, Katie DeLeon, Kimberly Ingram, Aurora Hashimoto, and Rio Lee? Rui?
I
I have
believe
no idea
that's
how to.
Ray Lee.
Ray Lee, that makes sense.
I'm like 95% sure that's correct. But when it comes to reading names versus seeing a person and saying and hearing, I'm not the world's greatest at it either. But we're trying. I want to be as
Mhm.
accurate as possible, but we're not we're not professionals at this point. We're getting there, not quite yet. Um, but once again, like looks like from what I know of this team, that is, I believe, mostly American players. At least uh, there's a couple names
I
that
don't
I just don't
recognize.
recognize offhand, but I would say like it looks like one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, like at least seven. So pretty significantly American team, based at least partially out of the Minnesota, which is I believe where the North name came from originally, and then we've got some Seattle players, and yeah, not sure where everyone else is from. Dodgeball Hub tells us phonetically it is Ray, which I nailed it. Good job, me. But I know that I got
I
that
think
wrong for
Aurora
quite
and
some
Kimberly
time.
are from Texas.
What was that, JD?
I think Aurora and Kimberly might be from Texas.
Gotcha. I believe
Uh,
that sounds right, but I don't know for sure.
Chat, feel free to correct us.
Perfect. Okay, so then next on the list we've got Feral AF, which I assume stands for as fuck, but you can't be doing that. Not as an actual team name at a competition anymore, or at least not outside of rec tournaments where they are a little looser with those kinds of regulations.
Nope, they are registered for nationals as Feral AF.
Excellent. I love it. And we got Kim is out of Atlanta. This is so excellent that we've got a research division in the group chat, or not in the group chat, in the actual Twitch chat. Love it. Um, I'm gonna pour myself a little glass of M&Ms real quick. Uh, we're not sponsored by M&Ms, but if you feel the desire to send me M&Ms, I would really appreciate that. It's on my Amazon wish list. Um, all right, so I don't know anything about this
Post it in
team.
chat.
This is a Canadian team?
Yes, it is.
All right, what?
So this is the primary team out of Saskatchewan. Um, this is a new system for Saskatchewan. Previously, they've always done a tryout process similar to PEI, where the coaches would then select the A team and then the B team, because Saskatchewan has previously had two slots at nationals. But they switched to a club format this year where it would be tournament style. The team that wins then qualifies for nationals. And so this is that team from Saskatchewan. Heather Irvin, to be noted, was actually the coach the last 2 years. Now returning as a player, very much a veteran on the court. And they definitely have some firepower. Number 11, Sandbergen, has an absolute cannon. This is a team that maybe not the most clean when it comes to decision making and strategy, but they 100% have some very talented ladies.
Excellent. I mean, I am looking forward to watching as many games as I can on Saturday and then hopefully some on Sunday just to catch and understand uh, these new, or not new teams, but new to me teams, and just really get a better perspective on where we're at. But that's interesting. So, like this year, is it a this year thing, or like do provinces get to choose how they do their own teams?
So every province has a PSO, so Provincial Sport Organization, that is a member of Dodgeball Canada. And then Dodgeball Canada gives out slots based on population to each province. So, like, Ontario historically has more slots than, say, PEI, of course, because their population is so much larger than us. Um, yes, and Megan or Dodgeball Hub is correct here. Heather also coached the men's team at the World Championships this past cycle for Team Canada.
Amazing.
But yeah, it's very different from province to province. I believe the PSO gets to determine how they will select teams that then go to nationals. It's not regulated by Dodgeball Canada per se.
Okay.
So that's why you'll see sometimes that PSOs will switch their format. Quebec is a province that has really done some trial and error to decide how they would select their teams. They used to do a bit of a tryout process, or like some provinces will do like a tournament style, but then I know Manitoba has done this historically. Like the top team qualifies, but then they'll have a selection committee that selects people to make a second team to go.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of these things that everyone does it slightly differently, right? So, and I think I had seen something that there was a tournament this year that was like just the Canadian Club Championships. Um,
So that is our nationals. They are
yeah.
changing the title to the Canadian Club Championships because something that provinces have been pushing for is a true nationals where it's one team per province dukes it out, and then we see who's actually the best province in Canada. Because the thing about club teams is they do allow some overlap. Like,
Hmm.
if a team wanted me to play for them, I technically could, even though I'm not residing in their province. There's been some back and forth about regulations on like how much a roster should be from that province versus not, etc. So they are potentially creating another national championships that would be like a true, you can only try out for your province. That the province gets one team, they all play against each other.
Gotcha. Okay. So the Canadian Club Championships is basically what Nationals has been previously, and they're considering adding another, which is specifically you have to be from that province to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
Correct.
that makes sense. That like cuz I saw that come up and I was like, "Wait, what is this tournament that I'm not aware of?" And now it all makes a lot more sense. Okay.
Yeah, it's not exactly clear or concise.
Well, that seems to be dodgeball as a whole. We're just not we're not quite fully streamlined exactly where we need to be yet. And there's no consistency like internationally. So we're just kind of
Mm-hmm.
all speculating on how other countries do things until someone like you comes in and tells us, "Hey, this is what's happening." Um, all right, well, let's move on to our next team here, which I believe is another Canadian team with Bloom, which
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and read these so that if I get them wrong, at least I get a bunch wrong as well. Um, Lauren Mew, Lucy Groves, Antonia Wu, Brenna Ramsey, Ada Chung, Giselle Su, Alyssa Georger, hopefully it's Georgia, Stella Valance. All right, and where is this team out of? Do we know?
This is British Columbia,
Excellent. West
um,
Coast, represent.
West Coast. Very interesting thing about this roster. Historically, they've always been BC's first rate team.
Okay.
And Hyper is actually their main competitor out of that province. But this year, Cynthia Lee has switched from playing on Bloom to Hyper.
Is she in this tournament? Oh,
And
there she is.
this is notable because Cynthia is an absolute cannon. She is currently a world champion with Team Canada Foam. Um, and Bloom also notably lost Wincy Ao. I think that's how I pronounce her last name. Also previously Team Canada Foam. And so Bloom's kind of losing two heavy hitters.
Gotcha.
But They are a very, very well organized team. They've been at core for a long time. They're very talented. Stella Valance has also been a part of Team Canada program, is an incredible catcher, and they just have a lot of really dodgy and fast ladies. So they're a lot of fun to watch.
Excellent. Well, I know that I've seen them play at the thing before, and then also I think probably Westerns is probably where I saw them as well. But that is exciting and good inside information. I like that we brought on an insider for this one, JD. It's definitely upping our quality, I would say. All right, moving on to a U.S. based team. We've got Aggression. JD, are you still there? And if so, can you read these players?
Yes, I can. So we have Casey Bisted. I think she is from the Northwest, possibly Portland or Seattle. Stephanie Schmuck, I believe she's also a Northwest player. Jill McKenna, Samantha Sayward, I believe she made the U.S. Foam women's team this past go round. If my memory serves me correctly, Nicole Pelicano, Alyssa Schur, and Danica Stone.
Excellent. And this team, I don't remember. Do you guys have the things? Do you guys have the information on? I know the things website showed how teams were selected for this. Do you guys have that, or either of you have that? I think it's on their Instagram. Um, okay, we got. Oh shit! I love this. We've got Kim Nguyen in our chat here, homie of the Rushdown podcast. He's telling us that Sam Sayward was on mixed foam for Team USA this last go round at Worlds, which I believe, if I'm not crazy, I think we took silver, if I remember correctly. Uh, so we've got some very high quality players on this team with a pretty good pedigree, and I believe they've been together for a minute. Um, and then a lot of these East Coast folks have been very consistently together. Like they've been playing together for a while outside of the Premier Tour, which just adds another level to, um, I guess, just your consistency and your ability to play together. Because, like you were saying earlier, JD, we've got some teams that are kind of just all-star teams in a way, where it's people who don't usually play together. But this one, I know at least a core group of this has been together for a minute. All right, moving on to our next team here. We've got Hyper, which we just talked about. Um, oh man, should I read that one? Okay, I'm gonna try it again, guys. I'm sure we could get a correct pronunciation for all of these, but
I actually know this one if you want me to do it.
I do because it's such a cool name, but I'm just like, am I good? I'm just gonna get it wrong. So go for it,
So we have
please.
Rial Leaf,
Real. Okay.
Hannah So, Jill Brooks, Cynthia Lee, Molly Pelletier, Stephanie Field, Charmaine Garcia, and Alyssa Wright.
Oh man, I would have definitely gotten Pelletier. I just got it wrong again. I would have gotten Molly's name wrong. That for sure. It was a sneaky one.
Yeah.
And
So
so,
this is kind of a sneaky powerhouse. This is my dark horse pick, just so we are aware, going forward. But
excellent.
we have three current world champions on this team, with Rial Leaf, who was also in the mixed foam division at the World Championships, was dubbed the MVP of the tournament.
Oh, amazing. And so that's one of the reasons why I probably know their name. It's a good name. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, yeah. Cynthia Lee, we've already talked about. Melly Pelletier was also on that mixed foam team. And I believe Janice So has played for Hong Kong, if I'm correct. Very talented player. So this team has a lot of firepower, but what I'm actually more excited about is I feel like a lot of their lesser known players are really good all-arounders. So there's a strong amount of support on this team for sure. And Alyssa Wright has been part of the Team Canada foam program as well.
Okay, so once again, with I mean this whole tournament, people were selected to be a part of this tournament because of the their success in qualifying tournaments. So no team here should really be a slouch, but I like hearing more specifics about this team Hyper because that's going to definitely factor into our predictions, which unfortunately, uh, with these Canadian teams in the mix, I'm less confident than our Tucson predictions, but we're going to do our best. And then we've got, right here, we've got Rainbow Thunder, which is personally one of my favorite jerseys in all of dodgeball. I love their jerseys. And I have been a fan of this team for a minute. Specifically, we got Taylor Ewell here, who I think a lot of people in dodgeball have met and just enjoy. She's really doing a good job of spreading dodgeball and just being a great energy. Um, as far as the rest of the team, I don't. I guess I know Vivian down here. We got a nice sneaky American making their way onto the Canadian team. And then I also know Sydney Somerville. But the rest of these players, I am just not sure.
Well, it's a good thing I'm around, isn't it?
Yes.
Very.
So this is gonna be a strong team as well. I'm not familiar with Judy, but Amanda First has been a longtime captain for Rainbow Thunder. Previously was a coach for mixed foam at the World Championships, where Canada won gold. Um, Kate Alexander, I'm not sure, but Karen Vanderdyken was also part of the winning mixed foam team this
Amazing.
past year at Worlds. Jamie Tapper has been on Rainbow Thunder for quite a while. I think also assistant coaches potentially. JC Morris, captain and absolute powerhouse, also on the mixed foam Team Canada. And Sydney Somerville is honestly just an all around very strong player. I'm kind of surprised they haven't been part of the Team Canada program previously. Oh, they have for cloth. My apologies, actually. Um, really great arm, really great catcher. So this team has a lot of talent, but I think the interesting thing is the clutch factor. Like they have a lot of players that love to be in like a 1v3.
Oh, well, that is one of the like love to be in that situation. That I don't like not a whole lot of people have that on like their bucket list, you know? I personally don't like to be in a position where uh I have to do it, but it is one of those things where if you are that person and then you get to shine, um it's everyone notices. You can't they'll notice no matter what happens. So hopefully you get to be on the winning side of that. I think I accidentally just closed the window. All right, I got it back. And
Yeah,
then also
Karen has
we got
And
traveled to
from
the US.
Dodgeball Hub, we got some messages in chat from OG Kimchi. Top four at Canada Nationals, top four USA Nationals, card invites, and the previous winners of the tournament get an automatic invite. And Karen Vanderdyken also played with Whisper at a tournament. And I believe, and my chat is frozen. Joey, is your chat working?
um we got a couple more, but it was just kind of an elaboration on the thing invites. And then Dodgeball Hub says that they got the deepest playbook in the game. Um,
Yeah, Amanda First is actually very well known for having some kooky plays. They're I like to call them unorthodox. They're very effective because they're so unorthodox.
well, excellent. I mean, I've the one of the times that when I first was introduced to them, I believe they took second place at the thing in 2023. And the semifinal that they were in was a pretty incredible match. Um, I think it was second place, but I don't recall exactly. I just remember watching the semifinal and being shook. It was like the most exciting match I got to watch of the whole tournament, and I was lucky to be there in person. So we're moving on here to Caffeine and Co., which is a fun name. I hope they are sponsored by some kind of coffee company that's called Caffeine and Co. But once again,
That is
I
already my favorite name.
exactly a fantastic name, but I know nothing about this team again. Do you want to help us out?
Sure.
Thank
So
you.
Caffeine and Co. is the primary team out of Quebec. Uh, they are probably the team with the deepest roster when it comes to numbers in the game right now on the women's side. I believe they have 11 players on average. But it is Ashley Boissonneau, Myra Duarte, Sarah, I don't know Sarah actually, Sarah Gill, Lori Jobin Ross, Cassandra P. Joduen, Leanne Wilson, Laurence Brasseau, Nancy Constantin, Beatrice Fortier, Jenna Galaidi, and Karine Biron. So this is a team that's kind of been birthed out of Quebec, out of they really wanted to develop players and they wanted to give players a chance who were maybe not getting called up to develop. And they have a lot of really great talent. Corinne Biron has been on Team Canada for a long time. Probably one of the best catchers in the game. Notably plays with Brick Squad actually a lot on the co-ed side.
Oh, excellent.
Um, and Lori Jobin Ross has also been part of the Team Canada foam program. And Cassandra actually was on the winning mixed foam team, the first world championships that mixed foam was back. Mira Duarte has also been part of the Team Canada foam program. So they have a lot of really good catchers. They have some really hard throwers, Cassandra in particular. And then shout out to Leanne Wilson, one of my besties. She played on Armada for years and then moved to Montreal. And she's got a really great drop shot that a lot of people don't pay attention to. So yeah, really great team that I'm excited for.
Amazing. I love these insights here, and I just wish that I had brought more to the table. At this point, uh, it's so tricky because in dodgeball, I think one of the biggest things that we need to do as like a world community is really just having the information out there because obviously these are more or less club teams, so it's on an international world scale. You don't necessarily know these people until they are on a world's team. But I find it uh, wonderful to see that there are so many names and so many players spread throughout all of these teams. So the quality of player and like you could just see where they're developing is very great.
Yeah, I always say that, when Team Canada or even the US, I'm sure, gets selected, there's only really like 20 girls or 20 men that are really paid attention to. But I
Mhm.
think both countries very likely have 50 individuals that have all the skill and talent to do it. They're just often overlooked.
Yes, I think that obviously when you're trying to narrow it down to the best in the country, um, there's going to be some hard lines that have to be drawn in order to just shrink the pool and make those decisions. But that's what these nationals and these tournaments are hopefully about is that you get to see these other players who aren't in the conversation yet or who have been just on the outskirts playing head to head with everyone. Because, like, I think, like you said previously, specifically, I think it was Caffeine and Co. has got such a deep roster where, you know, if your top six are just playing lights out, well, then you're not going to see everyone else. And that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of the situation you end up with a lot once you get to world selections is all right, well, we've probably got our starting six in mind, but who is everyone else? Who are these players who, when they're slotted into those moments, are going to fit with this team and can play at that level? And like you said, there are tons of people out there who can. It's just, are they the right fit? Have they been seen at the right tournaments? Have they been playing on the right teams to be seen in the tournaments? I think there is certainly kind of an impossible, not necessarily impossible, but a very difficult thing to overcome is if you're not on a winning team. in your club
Mm-hmm.
tournaments or any tournaments really. If you're not on a winning team, you just simply don't have as much time in front of scouts, in front of coaches, in front of other players. If your team gets eliminated in the first round, well, nobody gets to see you in those pressure situations go all the way and play match after match, and that um, can get very frustrating, especially when those top teams show up to all of these tournaments. You're getting knocked out by, you know, the best team in the world in some of these tournaments, and that's just a difficult thing to overcome. Not impossible, but it's definitely a tough road sometimes to just even be seen.
Yeah, and it's also a lot of subjectivity often. Like you've talked about before, we lack statistics in this game. And so a lot of times like it's kind of just subjectivity on like I think this person's a good player based off of my exposure to them, but then someone else might think that a different player is the best player in the world. It's very reliant on the person that's making the decisions.
And it also matchups matter so much too. Is there are
Mm-hmm.
certain players that I've faced off against that I know that I can beat one on one, but if you put them up against someone else, they are significantly better, or you put me in a different place against them, like in their place. Maybe I don't match up as well against 9 out of 10 people, but I match up better against them. And
Mm-hmm.
there's just so many different mismatches like that in dodgeball, with position changes and movement that we're not there at that Moneyball level. We can't break it down by the numbers yet, and we'll get there eventually. But I think just it's more exposure for everyone is the biggest thing. Exposure, um, numbers, and just really being able to see how people play in the most difficult situations.
Yeah.
So we're moving on to a U.S. team here now, or at least mainly U.S. I'm not sure the roster yet. Looks like all U.S. in Flex. JD,
It
you want to do the
is
honors on
an
this one?
all Yep. Thank you very much. This is the current U.S. women's super team, Flex, Tiffany Paget, Luann Weekend. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Don't throw at me in cloth for that, by the way. Uh, Ashley Elder, Carla Heisch, Ali Viscarando, Brianna London, formerly of Finesse, playing with Flex for this tournament, and Lisa Fox. They have a current stranglehold on the cloth division in the U.S. women's circuit. And let's see how many of see one, two, three, four. I think five of them made the U.S. Cloth team. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joey.
So I would believe we've got four from this past 2024, although I believe
Hmm.
Lisa was also selected but was unable to attend, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So I think it was five players selected, which is insane in a couple ways because their cloth squad is so good, but also they continuously keep winning foam tournaments. They are a great team no matter what ball type you throw at them. So their versatility is pretty incredible.
Yeah, like they have uh, they have power arms in Tiffany and Lisa, and you have catching from Luann, Carla, and Brianna. Just adding Brianna to have an extra catcher that is insane to add to an already stacked squad.
Also,
Can I
Brianna's
just say,
experience is on like another level. She's been playing at like the world's level for years at this point, and she's coming back from an injury, but she is looking in great shape right now, and I can't wait to see her just throw in some. Because she's also got a great arm. I think you've just seen her more recently, but man, she's a hell of a player. You were gonna say something, Halen?
yeah, I was trying to do some research last night on the US ladies so I could be more prepared for today. And I watched one point of I believe Flex versus I think it was Invasion at the time or something like that. And I was blown away by the amount of catches in one point. I think they were the amount of catches that I would consider a high catching game entirely, but it happened in the first point of the entire game. And it just really shocked me as to how much the US ladies go for catches, because that's definitely not a big thing in the Canadian culture when it comes to dodgeball, I think.
Yes, I think, and I don't know where that comes from exactly, specifically with younger players. So I'm not sure if it's a thing that's kind of been passed down. I do believe that unfortunately for an earlier part of dodgeball in the U.S., so much of dodgeball was uh, 8.5, a much larger uh, ball and much more catchable, and there just wasn't enough women's teams back in the day, so mixed teams existed, but weren't very evenly distributed and didn't. They treated the female players a lot differently than hopefully we're doing a better job of now. But a
As defensive players.
like a significant amount of their purpose on these teams was to catch people back in. So like a mentality I think in a lot of US dodgeball was they weren't utilizing women as offensive players so much as defensively. And so I think at least culturally there's a little bit of that that is still there, but
Hmm.
I don't know if that's like it seems that way, but we have so much more new talent and new players coming in from different who aren't like legacy players like that. So I think maybe we just kind of accidentally created that as a women's style in the U.S.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, moving on to
And
oh, go ahead, JD.
just to piggyback onto your point, Joey, uh, players that came from an 8.5 rubber background, like you can see their games seamlessly transition into the cloth game just because of how similar the size of the ball is, the trajectory, and uh, their ability to absorb like those hard throws that they can catch it like just as easily.
I think that really did impact USA's ability to jump into cloth on the world stage a little more quickly than some other teams, just having a bit of that background. Um, but people are catching up now, and I'm fascinated to see how the 2026 World's Championships goes because I think there's going to be a lot of shakeup across the board. Uh, moving on to finesse here, which I don't know how to pronounce this first name. Is it okay? I'm going to go with this.
Uh, Angelique Angelique Gorospe, Joanna Munoz, interestingly, both normally core members of Invasion, and you can see them just below this team. Actually, so this is going to be a fun two teams to talk about. Kayla Sison, Crystal Briones, co-captain of this team. Elisa Westman, formerly of Los Angeles, now she is in Seattle with her husband Glenn Spacier,
And she's
Ashley
formerly
Cook.
of Whisper as well, who is not in this tournament, obviously,
Yes,
but a great pickup here for Finesse.
I think her playing style match will be cohesive with the rest of the team for sure. Ashley Cook. Uh, this one is a new name that I just saw get added in. Morgan Draps and Karina Arias Amezcua.
I hope that you nailed that because I've actually never said Karina's last name out loud, so I imagine you nailed it. So Finesse, I believe, if I remember correctly, defending champions of the thing. Is that right?
Hold on, research division's on it. One second.
I know that I made this list. I was gonna pull it up like after we finished this section, but I was just like I jumped the gun. Um, a fantastic team that's been together for quite some time. They've traveled to so many tournaments, and I think the biggest thing that I see about them is they don't ever seem to fold under pressure. They are always consistently in every single point and every single match, and any one of them can bring it back from the brink. They all have the talent. They can all move. They can all throw. Ashley Cook specifically has just an absolute laser. Karina is ambidextrous as far as I've seen and can throw any kind of ball you want. I've seen her coaching softball and obviously has some softball background. And this team, I just want to see what they can do because we have a slightly different lineup. Not too much, but I think everyone should hopefully fit into this in a good manner. All right, let's move on to our next team, Invasion, another U.S. team. JD, you're gonna do this one again because that's just what's happening.
All right, cool. Sounds good. All right. Here is another couple more interesting players. Uh, Piggybacking onto Finesse, Tia Hoover and Koyo Ntekim both played for Finesse last season, I believe, or the one before that. So a bit of an exchange. Not sure if that was intentional or purely coincidental. Grace Rowan, she plays for Bridge City, I think normally. Katie Sanchez, Kate Gong, Rebecca Slivka, and Sam Greco. Uh, so the players who you see there with the jersey numbers are more of the core members of Invasion. They've been together for who knows how many years now, but they've won together as well. Uh, and all four recently made the national team for Team USA just this past year, with Katie, Kate, and Sam on the foam team, and Rebecca was on the cloth team.
And I believe.
And the three,
Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, okay, I was just gonna say I believe Tia, Koyo, and Grace were all also invited as members of the practice squad. So although not everyone was selected to the team, everyone on this team made it to basically the final selection days.
Yeah, so definitely a team to watch out for. Very, very tenured, and uh, Koyo also played with them at the Tucson round,
And if I
where
remember
she
correctly,
won,
they
where
won,
she
right?
won. They did. Uh, they oh, and Dodgeball Hub says Invasion lost their Canadians to caffeine this year.
Well,
Boy, if that was taken out of context, that would have been a wild sentence.
okay. And then we are moving on to our final team on this list of the women's teams. We've got Valkyrie. And as a Canadian team, let's have you do the honors.
Yeah, so Valkyrie, we have Veronica Baird, Shade Berkeley, Jessica Gray, Lynn Kirkpatrick, Angelica Dale, also known as Chili, Sarah Flatt, Betty Mack, Yvonne Scher, and I just can't see who that last person, and Wincy Howe, who I previously mentioned was no longer playing with Bloom. So this team is like Canada's top notch. The core of Veronica, Shade, Jessica, and Lynn are always on Valkyrie. Valkyrie has always been a top two, if not first place team in Canada. Lynn Kirkpatrick, just an all-star veteran when it comes to development in Canadian dodgeball, but also long-time member of Team Canada. Jess, Gray, Shade, and Veronica. Actually, sorry, this entire team, besides Chili, has been a part of the Canadian foam program. And that's why they're such a powerhouse. Is like, if you're considering playing Team Canada, this is essentially it.
Gotcha. Amazing.
Chile is a great pickup from Nova Scotia.
Which, if I understand correctly, is a Canadian province.
Yes, on the East
Yes.
Coast.
Nailed it, guys. I knew it. I knew I had it in me. Okay. Well, that is all of our
Geography just on
teams.
point tonight, guys.
So now that we've got all the teams, we got to pick where they're going to land in our rankings here. So
Yeah.
I think really, do you guys have? I accidentally screwed this up. I didn't have the what you call it. I think I zoomed in too far and I lost the pools. Okay, Group A. Oh no, I guess it's all one pool. Either way, I don't understand. My
They're
mistake.
all one pool, I think.
Yeah, they're all going to be playing each other, so that makes a lot of sense. Um, all right, well, let's go ahead and start from the bottom. Let's just pick some teams who we think are going to unfortunately be in the bottom. And remember, everyone, we're doing this for fun. These are some of the best teams in North America. If you are in the bottom, um, well, just prove us wrong, I guess is the correct answer. Just do it. Go out there and kick some ass. Um, what I'm going to do is based on
You fix the typo on aggression.
what's oh, yep, that's gross.
Okay, cool. I wanted to give you a hard time about it, but I wanted to find
It's
a
so funny. I
good point to
fixed it
do it.
earlier on this. I fixed it on this side on the brackets, but not on the standings. Um, whoops. Okay. Um, well, man, who's gonna start us off? Who's gonna pick our 12th place team? No one wants to do it.
I'll do it.
Nice.
I'll be
Confidence.
Oh, thank
brave.
fuck.
All right. So I'll propose my first two, and then you guys we can fight over it a bit. My bottom two teams, I believe, with very little exposure to the U.S. teams, would be Feral AF and Aggression.
Okay.
My reasoning, let me explain,
I'm gonna put them
is
down here for now.
for now.
Listening.
I only put Feral there because Saskatchewan has yet to really like place in Canada in a high regard. I think they have the potential and they have the talent, but they're just like they have more developing to do. So I think they're a team that could really mess up some teams. Like I think they will have some really fun um, shakeups that people won't predict. But I think they're the safest team for me to put there at this time. The reason I put aggression there is I got to play a version of aggression at least at kickoff in January, and my team beat them pretty handedly, so that's my reasoning.
Gotcha. So you've got some first-hand experience that's putting them in this position, which I think
Yes.
is totally fair. Because
Totally
I think
fair.
just
But
looking,
to be fair though, I don't know if they have the same roster.
that's also fair. I think the biggest thing for me is I just simply don't haven't seen most of these teams play together. So we're really kind of just winging it. It's kind of like me picking a March Madness bracket. Like I don't know, but it's fun to do anyway for some of these teams. So I would also probably consider this to be not a bad 12 pick between these two. Um, I feel like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put Nemesis down here. Boom. We'll see.
Sorry, Megan.
We're gonna put them right here in approximately a 10 spot. See what happens there. And then I would also put probably I'm gonna go Caffeine and Co. down here as well because I love their name, but I just don't know. I don't know them yet. What are you guys thinking? Talk to me.
I will fight you on
Honestly,
caffeine.
Good.
Yeah.
We picked one to start a fight. I did it.
oh, Megan also wants to fight us.
The chat is mad.
Counterpoints. I rip my homies from Canada. I would put caffeine above Bloom.
Oh,
Um,
dang.
My reasoning being Bloom lost two heavy hitters.
Mhm.
Caffeine gained back Cassandra, who's a heavy hitter. For you guys who don't know, Caffeine is a team that regularly is making playoffs and quarters at national level tournaments in Canada. They have multiple Team Canada women, and they're also one of the only teams playing at the thing that has their full normal roster. So they'll have actual synergy.
Okay. Well, they just moved up to. I'm gonna put them in sixth spot. Boom, nailed
Yeah, for now.
it.
Replace Caffeine and Co. in the 10 spot next to Nemesis with North.
North. Boom. Take that, America. Gonna put you down here. Ah, okay. What's funny is North was a team that I also was thinking to be in this bottom half of the teams. I just wasn't sure where I was gonna put them. So, um, let's just flip it and go the other way. Who are we thinking in our top spots for standings? And this is, remember, this is standings. This isn't necessarily who's going to
Valkyrie.
win it all. This is just where
Yeah,
we
it's
think they're
Valkyrie.
going to come out of a round
It's
robin.
Valkyrie.
It's not a discussion. It's Valkyrie.
Boom. She's got Valkyrie at 1. Is that what you said too, JD? I couldn't hear overlap.
No, we were saying it at the same time. It's Valkyrie.
Oh,
Yeah.
You are not going to mince words.
well, boom. I'm thinking Finesse is going to come back, and I think they're going to back-to-back this. I think that's why they're back. I think they have the purpose. They are just here with one goal in mind, and that is gold. That's why they're here, and I want to see them get it.
So you think Finesse is going to beat the national champions?
Yes, I do.
All right. I'm convinced.
What a good
I'm
argument.
not.
Uh,
Not.
totally fine. And then I think let's start filling in some spots here. I think.
Wait, does
Flex-
JD
Flex.
disagree?
Wait, what was your prediction? And also, I totally jumped the gun. I didn't realize which end of the standings Joey was going. If it's the upper end, I think Flex is somewhere in the 3-4 spot.
All right, we're gonna put them at 3 to start, and adjust from there. I feel like Halen, you're gonna be putting Hyper probably somewhere in this same area, right?
So here's the thing. I'm going back and forth between Hyper and Rainbow Thunder.
Ooh.
I think Hyper has the potential
Yeah, I agree.
to be in the semis for sure, if not potentially making an upset to the final.
Okay.
But when you look at Rainbow Thunder's track record, I never I love these girls. I love them so they always outperform where I think they're going to land. The Rainbow Thunder regularly lately has been like making a semifinal, making a medal, and as I've said, they've picked up Corinne and Sydney. So like I would not be shocked to see Rainbow Thunder in one of the finals for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I like this. So, then I'm personally going to go ahead and put Bloom at 7, just for now. And Invasion I'm going to put at 5. Alright, can you guys see this? I know I'm not sharing it through the chat, which I probably could, if that would make it easier for you guys instead of looking at it on
No,
Twitch.
I have the stream open.
Okay. JD, oh,
I
you're
have the
in the
stream
chat. I was like, wait a minute, who's talking to the chat? Okay. So, you guys both picked Valkyrie as your number 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
then what we're going to do is I'm going to take my Finesse and put it at number 2 because I'm overruled on number 1. If you don't think this is number 2, we could discuss it, but that's where we're going to start. Nemesis versus North, who do you think is higher?
North.
Based purely on national standings? Yeah, it would be North.
Okay, North is going to 9. Take that, Megan. And then we're going to go aggression. We're going to go America because, as you know, the United States is north of Canada. Boom.
What?
You're displaying aggression
What,
right
do
now.
you guys
Yeah.
forget where Alaska is?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Boom.
Okay.
Geography. Nailed it.
Okay, but do you know what the Northwest Territories are?
They're also pretty far north. I'm not going to lie. I don't actually know who has the technically highest north spot. It's probably Canada. I'd have to pull
It's
up a map.
Canada.
Uh,
Yeah.
but okay, so then to
All
fix
right,
this,
Halen.
I'm gonna
You
move
got
everybody
what's her
down.
name? Megan is challenging you too.
Oh, Nunavut is also definitely higher than Alaska.
All right.
Wait, oh, Megan's gonna fight me? I listen. I gave the the U.S. rankings to them. That wasn't my jurisdiction.
I think she.
I'm
I
fully gonna give the blame to these guys.
think that's totally fair. People will
I,
clip this
hey, I'm
later and
fine
hold
with
you
that.
to it, though. Okay, so uh,
Wait, I'm gonna follow my heart. I think you should put Rainbow Thunder above Hyper.
okay, we're flipping it. Boom.
All right. Also, research division. I found the final standings from last year. If we're ready to compare and contrast this year versus last.
We can actually. Let me pull that up because I don't. Well, you can read it if you want.
Yeah,
Start with number
it on
12 and
my
work your
phone
way
right
up.
now.
But I know I have it.
Uh, okay. These teams are not in this year's pool. It is tied for 10th. Twisted and Onamusha. And
Got it.
then number 9, Hyper. 8,
Boom.
Bloom. 7, Rack Attack. 6th, Whisper. 5th, Valkyrie. 4th, Invasion. 3rd, Rainbow Thunder. 2nd, LFG, now known as Flex. And 1st, and the defending champs, Finesse.
Okay. Excellent. So we've got a lot of similar positions with the teams that we have. Bloom and Hyper we've put significantly higher than they ranked last time around. But other than that, it's pretty similar. Valkyrie, we've jumped up significantly. LFG slash Flex is in about the same spot. Same with Invasion and Rainbow Thunder. So, really, based on previous tournament experience, I don't think we're too far off. But I'm super curious to see how everyone falls out here. Are we okay with this 12 as they exist in the standings here? Because once we get them into the bracket, then it's kind of we got to just go full on feelings. Who do you think has got the momentum? Who's winning?
Oh, I thought this
Yeah,
was
I
what we were
think.
doing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I explained that perhaps poorly. Um, but what I'm gonna, are you guys okay with this 12 right here?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
we're
so.
okay with it. I don't know if the chat's okay with it.
Well, they can just hold on. Okay, we're almost
I
done.
would like to state again, I do think Saskatchewan could mess up this entire thing.
Which
Like,
is
I
the
would
that
not
is the
feral AF. Like, if they cleaned up, because I know that they're like they've Saskatchewan, for context, is like a younger developing province when it comes to like high level play. So if they've cleaned up their strategy and incorporated more teamwork, I do think they could really give some teams a run for their money.
gotcha. Okay, so real quick, guys. JD, can you read the teams starting with number 12, and I'm gonna put them on the bracket.
Wait, what do you mean? The teams we just had?
Yeah, so that was we had
Okay.
Feral AF.
Yeah, I definitely did not take a screenshot.
That's
Yeah, it
okay.
was Feral AF.
Oh shoot, I lost the AF. What happened?
That's fine. Feral's fine.
Feral's
It's
It's
fine.
my
fine.
preference
Like,
anyway.
Okay, and then we had aggression. Pretty sure.
yes.
For 5?
At 11. Oh, I was just
Oh
do.
no, for
Oh.
11.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I have it right here. Why? What am I? Why am I not doing this? The Nemesis and
That's a great
North.
question.
Well, because I wanted to spread the love. Nemesis North. For men's, we'll just put them straight on the bracket so that we don't have to do this twice. Okay, that seems like the smart move we should have done in the first place.
That makes sense.
North and Bloom. Bloom and Caffeine Co. are next. Bloom at number
It
8.
was
Creating some
a
fun
Blue
matchups,
versus
guys.
North matchup.
Boom. And then we got Invasion, Hyper, Rainbow Thunder, Invasion.
Invasion Hyper. Yep, in that order.
So our first team with a bye, Rainbow Thunder, coming in fourth place thus far. And then it was Flex, Finesse, Valkyrie. Flex,
Yes.
Finesse, Valkyrie. And what we do want to see here is I personally am getting sick because like in open it's been like this, in women's it hasn't, but in open in the last couple Canadian tournaments I've seen, it's been an all-American final. And I don't want that. I want it to be at least one Canadian team in the finals here. So that's what I'm personally cheering for the thing in 2025. So
But
the
if I told you, I'm also cheering for that, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I assume because you're expecting an all Canadian final.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in our first matchups here, we've got Bloom versus North, Hyper versus Feral, Caffeine and Co. versus Nemesis, Invasion versus Aggression. Um, for me, just looking at this, I feel like for the most part, these are gonna go probably by the actual ranking, I would assume. I feel like
hmm
8 and 9, um, that one's always a tight one. And with what you said with Caffeine and Co. versus Nemesis, that one might be tight just depending on their, uh, what'd you say, how well they've cleaned up and how well they're playing together.
No,
Uh,
that's feral.
Oh, that was Farrell. Yes, sorry, my bad. That was Farrell. So that one could be tighter than a 5 versus 12 seed. But then, of course, if that's the case, maybe they're not going to be the 12 seed. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with let's go Hyper versus Farrell. We are assuming Hyper moves on.
Yep.
Hyper.
Yes.
Boom. You did it, guys. You
All
made it
right.
out of the first round. Congratulations. You've moved on to the quarterfinals. Sorry, Farrell. Caffeine and Co. versus Nemesis. Megan, in the chat, how do you think you're going to do? You think you're going to beat him?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. Megan, do you think you'd be Calf and Co?
While we wait for her
Yeah, let's challenge
response,
Megan
we're going to
for
have
once.
Invasion versus Aggression. American
Invasion.
quarterfinal. Yes, I agree. Invasion, I think the biggest thing with Invasion, with a lot of these more legacy teams, is just simply experience. Like when it comes down to playoffs, experience often beats talent because if assuming that you have a similar level of talent, of course. If there's a significant disparity, it's different. But that experience, that decision making often just puts you just ahead in all of the key moments of most matches. Um,
All right.
she made a sad
We
face,
got a
so
crying emoji.
I think that means
That's a
Caffeine and
no.
Co. Moving
She
on.
agrees. She knows.
All right, and
Love
then
you,
in the 8
Megan.
versus 9, um, how are you feeling? Because Bloom, you said you felt that they may have dropped down a little bit. See if my focus readjusts on my camera. Okay, um, but do you think they still defeat this North team?
Um, I don't know North besides Tanya.
Fair.
And Ray. I think because Ray played on the mixed foam, did she not?
Correct. She was one of the
Or
co-captains.
Yes.
Her and Lucas were the co-captains for mixed foam.
mm-hmm.
And
But Bloom has played together a long time. So I really think it depends on how well they can adjust to to North.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, I do think it could be a bit of a toss up, but my Canadian bias says Bloom.
Gotcha. All right, JD. I'm gonna go ahead and pick North because I think Ray and Taylor have been playing together for quite some time, and I think Ray mixed foam, Taylor was on women's foam. I think we've got a very good North coming in and taking this first quarterfinal match, or I guess first round of 16 match, round of 12. How many fucking teams are there? 12. Round of 12.
12.
Moving on. JD, you're the deciding factor. North or Bloom?
All right. Joey, your mic cut out.
Yeah, you're my cutout. But I think he's waiting on your vote, JD.
Oh, okay. I'm picking Bloom.
Damn
honestly.
it! Okay. Bloom, Bloom is moving on. Congratulations, Bloom. You've made it to the quarterfinals. Okay, so now we've got some what I would consider quite exciting matchups. I mean, I'm excited to watch all of this regardless, but now we're narrowed it down just a little bit. Since you guys have picked Valkyrie going all the way to the top, I think they probably win this one pretty, not necessarily
Yeah, they'll beat
handily,
them.
but I think I'm just going to move them on ahead because we also have got to really pick up the pace
Yeah,
for the
it was
men's
it
half.
was it was pretty unanimous. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Flex versus Invasion is going to probably be an incredibly
That
tight match over here in the bottom. 3 versus 6 seed.
but I think the synergy of Flex and their their talent across multiple ball types, including foam, will carry them through. And Invasion has to incorporate 3 new members
Hmm.
into uh, their roster for this tournament. Granted, Koyo did play with them for the Tucson round of the USA Premier Tour, but Flex has been playing together uh, longer and more frequently. So
Gotcha.
I've got to give it to Flex.
So Flex, you got moving on, and I also just think, um, well, we'll see if how they come together for the rest of the season. But I like what I see out of those players, and I really want to see them continue to succeed. This will be a tight match, and I'm super curious to see if this actually shows up when we get to this Sunday. Um, so Finesse versus Caffeine and Co. I know where I'm going. I personally got Finesse taking this, but I want to hear your guys' opinions. What do we got?
Well, my question
Hmm.
is, how healthy is Ashley Cook and how healthy is Corinne Baran?
Hmm.
I I think just due to like national level experience, it probably would go to Finesse,
Such
but
fair
I think it'll be
questions.
a really good fight.
Well, we'd hope so, right? Like that's the whole point of this round. Um, but you are correct. Health is such a huge factor, and how long, especially if you are slightly hurt, are you going to be able to continue to play at that high level in a tournament? Um, but I have no idea Ashley's status, but I am excited to see her back on the court. Um, JD, do you have an opinion on this one?
I I would honestly agree, just because like I have said in the previous matchup, the continuity is there. I do think Finesse also has slightly better depth in terms of player for player on a if you were to rank each team's member top to bottom, like each individual player, I think they have that slight edge over Caffeine and Co. Uh,
Moving
uh,
on. We're
for
doing it.
their teams.
Finesse into the semifinals. Woo! Ah, damn it, we got a Canadian side and an American side now. So I
I was
guess
just about to say that.
we split it no matter what we do. Okay, we got the chat discussing here on the side. Rainbow Thunder versus Hyper. Where are we landing here? The 4 versus 5 seed. Hyper is, remember, coming off of the first match. Rainbow Thunder is rested, but maybe Hyper is in a bit of a groove at this point. But we're also
Yeah.
playing 40-minute full matches on Championship Sunday. So they will most likely be in a somewhat back to back 40-minute match scenario. So that is a lot of stress on the body.
Yeah, I agree with Megan here in the I think the edge goes different ways. So like Hyper will have more synergy when it
Hmm.
comes to like it being their real roster. Rainbow Thunder has a few more pickups. Um so I agree with Megan that like Hyper might edge Rainbow Thunder out in that. However, I think if Rainbow Thunder gets the catching going, like if Taylor and JC catch and Sydney even are catching, like that can really change a game. But I do think Hyper kind of has the edge when it comes to potential synergy.
Okay. Whew. Well, hopefully
With
they don't watch this stream later. Because I
What do you
actually,
mean?
I know them pretty significantly. If we're gonna put Hyper above, I just know Rainbow Thunder players, just like you.
You know what's crazy?
We're in a tight spot.
You know what's actually crazy about this matchup too is almost all the ladies on like the high level are teammates who won the world championship together. So like putting these two teams against each other is kind of hilarious because it's teammates against teammates.
So everyone kind of knows how each other plays. Hopefully, there's some really good camaraderie, and they'll be cheering hard no matter who wins. Um,
Hmm.
it sounded like you were giving the slight edge to Hyper. Was that correct?
Like the smallest edge. I go back and forth every 5 minutes. Don't come back to me.
Okay. Well, JD, where are you at? Do you have a horse in
No,
this race? A
I
unicorn,
I
if you will?
genuinely don't. I know very little about either of these teams. So I am deferring to Megan in the chat. Thank you for contributing, by the way.
Ooh, Xander just showed up in the chat, and he's got a vote. He's got looks like Thunder, which is where I'm personally leaning. I'm
I
go.
know, right? It's so hard.
I'm giving
I
Thunder the
truly think.
edge.
Okay, you go for it. It's your stream. I think between these two teams, if they do end up playing each other in a semi, it is going to be the most intense semi. Like it would be. I'm praying to see that game, honestly.
Well, I
Mainly for
hope
my benefit, so I can study for nationals.
perfect. Well, I hope this shakes out pretty close. So, with that, that means that every team that had a bye, as you would expect in a lot of these tournaments, has moved on. Thanks for catching the unicorn joke, Dodgeball Hub. Um, but so nobody has the advantage at this point unless we have a game that was like really tight, which perhaps this Rainbow Thunder Hyper one, maybe it goes the distance. We get into an overtime level. Um, so maybe Rainbow Thunder's got a little less energy than Valkyrie, which, as you guys have already picked Valkyrie as your number one top team anyway, that puts Rainbow Thunder at a significant disadvantage going into a very tough semifinal match. Over here, we've got Finesse versus Flex. Two of the top U.S. women's teams, although Finesse isn't a team this year. Flex is looking to take their place slash continue their legacy that they started this last year. Um, what do you got, you guys? Ooh, we got a pick in the chat. Xander's got Valkyrie versus Invasion. Final 11-2 with Valkyrie taking the lead. Wow, that is a significant
Interesting.
championship differential. Dominant win from Xander in the chat. Um, Okay, who do you guys got moving on here between Finesse and Flex?
This one's gonna be a tight match, I think, because if this is potentially Finesse's last tournament as a team, because it seems as if there's a few Finesse players that want to actually try out Cloth and transition into the Cloth game. Uh, they are probably going to be fighting hard to prolong their last dance, so to speak. Uh,
Gotcha.
I do I do think Flex just because they've gotten more reps together recently, especially. So I give them a very slight edge. However, as both of you have pointed out, if Invasion and Flex have a very tight matchup in the previous round, that could sway it to Finesse.
Okay, Xander mistyped. He had Finesse making it to the finals. Was his team in the chat? Um,
I think
we're
I agree with Xander.
all right. So you got Finesse with the slight edge. JD gave Flex the slight edge. I'm personally taking Finesse to the next level. I want them battling for
Right.
the gold. I want them going for the back-to-back championship, and I want to see everyone giving it their all to just take this home on home soil, on American turf. Although it would be pretty fun if you could move this up to like Vancouver, do this every other year, one in Vancouver, one in Seattle. That would be pretty kick-ass. Um, so in this top other semifinal match, I assume you guys have Valkyrie, correct?
Yeah.
Pretty strong
Yeah.
assumption. You guys both have Valkyrie going. I think I can't really argue with you. Plus, Rainbow Thunder, like I had said, I think that's going to be a very tight, all the way down to the wire kind of match. Valkyrie, I'm not going to say totally walks, but I think they're going to win by enough that they can rest some players, which puts them into a really good position in any semifinal or match coming down the line. Sorry, Rainbow Thunder. Please send me one of your jerseys, though. I would really appreciate it. All right, we got our finals: Valkyrie versus Finesse. What do you guys got? I know you're
Oh, Valkyrie.
I know you're concerned about some Ashley Cook. How good is she coming off of injury? Valkyrie is your number one pick for this whole thing, so why are we even continuing to do this? I guess it was because of the other matchups. Um, but let me. Xander's super curious about what we think the score of this match is going to be. If you think it's going to be that crazy of a differential. Uh,
Hold
JD,
on.
real quick.
What
You also
differential did he
have
put?
JD, real
Hold
quick.
on, I'm scrolling up.
Yeah, but I'll tell you in a second. But like,
Yeah.
you have Valkyrie as your number one team as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then at this point, just 2-1. You guys have already got it. Boom. Valkyrie is our winner.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, Valkyrie. You've won the stream for first place. But let's go ahead and figure out what we think the score is gonna be. Xander in the chat, thank you for hanging out and being so active. He's thinking they're going to just run the table and win with a significant differential in every match. I don't think that's how this final is going to go. I think it's going to be a little tighter. I think Finesse is definitely going to be tired, but I don't see them getting walked. I don't see it going like completely against them like that.
I'll give it a 7-4 for Velk.
JD, will you weigh in?
8-4, but
8-4.
in caveat will yes, but a caveat will be each point will be coming down to something like a 3v2, 2v2, 1v2 kind of deal. I don't think I think each point will be hard fought. Uh, I'm not imagining a team just winning like with a 5-0 body differential on court.
Totally
I
fair,
think
but
You'll
Xander's just
we'll see a tight first half, and then the second half, Valk will walk.
okay. I can see that that's where you guys are headed. That's where the chat's headed. I think, and partially this is a bias, just for the simple fact that I want it. I always want overtime. I always want no block to be like an important game. I want it to be
Mm-hmm.
game deciding. So I I'll give it to you guys. We'll give Valkyrie the win, as we already have. But I think it comes down to, I think they don't take it to overtime. I think they lose it in no block. I'm gonna go 7-5, losing on that no block to take the lead.
I think that's fair.
All right. You are a much more optimistic person than we are, Joey.
Hey, I just really, I think you cannot underestimate last stand. Let's do this. Let's go back to back. There is so much of that. Um, and Valkyrie, I don't believe has ever won this tournament, or I think they have always been like the bridesmaid, but never the bride. I think they have been right there. So I think it's gonna be tight, but I think they're gonna want it as well. I think this is a two highly motivated player teams in this semifinal or in the final. Well, boom.
Counterpoint, I don't think Valkyrie has ever had like the roster that this is.
This is the best roster, is what we're thinking that they've had.
Wow, this is just top tier Canada.
Okay, well that's also fair, and if then they have a lot of experience together playing at the national level, so or international level, I guess, with the national team. So they've got all of that as well, besides just their team chemistry. Um, I'm hoping for a real tight match, but let's see if you guys come in, if Valkyrie's the number one team or not. Comment on this video, guys. It'll be great. All right, so let's try to like do double time the speed on the men's division. Sorry, men's.
Agreed.
It's getting late. So We're gonna wipe the slate clean here, and we're bringing up the men's teams. Um,
You'd think we'd learned from our last prediction stream. Clearly, we have not.
well, what it is just we have a lot more insight this time. That's the other factor. I'm very excited to have
That is also
Halen
true.
on the stream with us, and it's just added a lot more of our history to everything. All right, and we'll
I
just do it.
appreciate that. You can tell me to not yap as much too if you want.
Well, I'm going to tell you that right now for the second half. Yes. But it's only because we've been going for like an hour and a half, and I'd like to see if we can pull off about half an hour ish to pull off the men's team. So, what I think the best
No
way to.
way in hell.
Hey, here's how we do it we just run through the rosters. I think that's the only way to do it. We lose a lot of time talking about these rosters, and I think you know what? Maybe we don't need to spend that much time on the rosters. Although it's the most interesting part is who's on the team. You know what? It's fine. We're gonna do a good job. Pick up the speed. All right, starting off, we got DMV Grizzlies, who I believe finished in third place in USA Nationals. So they got the invite, which is exciting for them. This is their first time at the tournament. And it looks like a significant amount of this is the same team. I'll just read the roster real quick. We got Matt Bosco, Zach Fernald, Daniel Fernald. Matt Levine is an addition to this team. He's not usually on the team. Dan Elport, Glenn Spacher, Chad Zbilek, and Eric Nelson. So yeah, Matt Levine is really the only player who wasn't on their Nationals team. And I don't think he's replacing anyone. I think he's just an addition to the team. And an excellent addition as that. He is such a great player, and I think what he adds to this team specifically is he is moving. He's got agility that is, I think, just top tier. It's one of those levels where you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that he can do that. All right, who wants to do this one? Let's do Saiyan Elite. Who wants to read my Saiyan Elite team?
Sure. So this is Canadian team featuring others. We got Cody Foley, Hunter DeLeon, Nathan Wu, Kaylin Esterbrooks, Guy Aronson, Joshua Sakura, Quentin Estick, Ian Randall, and Jeremy Bizzle. I will say this: if Saiyan was bringing their full normal roster, I'd be putting them first. They've had an incredible season so far. The momentum is huge. The team synergy is great, but they only have 5 of their usual players. So I don't think they'll do as well as they usually do.
Gotcha. Understandable. I think Jeremy Bizzle is such an excellent pickup for this team because he's just such a great team player and just a great player in general. But like you said, this isn't their regular team, and in the Canadian circuit, they are playing some excellent dodgeball. So this is a team to look out for sure in the men's division. Royals, a team that I know nothing about. Um, JD, you're going to read all of these folks.
Or why not? Uh, Hold on. Let me pull up the. It's actually zoomed in a bit too far for me, so let me go to the spreadsheet. All right, Maximus Patry, Boris Patry, Joshua Welsh, Idir Hamel, Benjamin Rousseau, Louis Pierre T. Blanchet, Robinson Patry, Thomas Savard, Martin Dutil, Hugo Benoit, Hubert Goudreau, and Renaud Patry.
Oh,
Looks
this
like
is
a
the first
lot
team we've
of.
got with coaches. That's exciting.
Oh, all right, nice.
I like that. What do you know about this team, Helen?
This is Quebec's first team. They have a lot of youth that is really talented. So they're very momentum based. Like if someone makes a big catch, they're probably going to win like 2, 3 points in a row. But at the same time, like they kind of let their mistakes add up as well. I think they're always going to be really exciting to watch, like for sure.
Gotcha. Okay, well that is super exciting to see just newer players coming on the scene, and they bring in the coaches. I love that. I feel like we got to remember that Xander himself is playing in this tournament, So I think he's going to have some bias more on this men's side. But he's in the chat right now. Uh, he looks like they lost in Toronto, he says, in the semifinals. So that was saying elite. Um, we'll keep going here on our rosters, and then we'll check back in the chat in a moment. But I like that people are interested and are interested in our takes, even if they royally ah, ah, disagree. Moving on, we're gonna do Future, another Canadian team. Where is Future out of? I know them, but I don't remember.
Future is from Alberta.
Alberta. Okay.
Um, they have been together for quite a while, though. At
Mhm.
Maxime Cloutier is a newer pickup. Uh, Future has not been performing like at a like placing super high, is I guess what I'll say. I think they have a lot of talent. It's just closing. The a Future time and time and time again will give a really really good fight in playoffs, but they just can't finish it.
Ah, and that's one of the most frustrating things you can find yourself in as an experienced team, a team that's been around for a while, is just constantly being on that bubble, being a plateau team that just can't quite take it to the next level. That's usually what will break a team. If you're a team that can always make it to the quarterfinals but never make it to the semifinals, that's when you start to fall apart and decide, do we stick together or do we leave? So, okay, that's a good thing to know. And we got um, another like exciting. And you said they were out of Alberta, right? So that's kind of like general Alberta. There's no city that they're based out of necessarily.
I wouldn't be able to tell you that.
That's okay. We'll get more experts in the future. Okay, coming up next, we got Mavericks, which I know some of the names on this team, but I do not know this team particularly well, other than the fact that I really like their Instagram. Um, we're gonna try and pronounce these. I'm gonna go for it. Joel. Why did I do this? Jodine. Joel Jodine.
Go-
Victor.
Jodwen.
What?
Jodwen.
Of course, immediately. Jodwen. That's closer. Victor Gravelli is the coach, or one of the coaches. Yep, only coach. Nick Grenier, Nicholas Danchenko, Jason Mergler, Matthew Garcia Silvera, Roman Levau, Spencer Tate, Matt Wood, Jeff Snow, Matt O'Brien. All right. Um, I've known them for a while through the internet, and it seems like they're always placing very high in these tournaments that I see. They uh, they got some really experienced players, and then like Nicholas Danchenko here, who was playing down in the U.S. in Tucson. Some younger players who are just playing some excellent dodgeball. That dude is great to play against because he's so much fun, but he's impossible to hit. That guy is moving all over the place. Um, what do you guys know about Mavericks?
This is a team that like has super top tier talent. Several men that have been playing on Team Canada for a while. They're expected to make a semi. It's one of those things that if they don't make a semi, like that's a disappointment for this team for sure. Uh, but lately they've been struggling to get that win that they are known for in this previous season.
Gotcha. So
But they
they
are a team that definitely has high expectations.
high expectations, but they are currently underperforming, is what it sounds like. They're just not quite there. Something's just not feeling right as a team. Maybe this just isn't their season. But at the same time, it's pretty early, at least in the U.S. for our tournaments anyway. So what?
Oh, we have nationals next month.
Yeah, so late, late in the season. Hopefully for them then that this is a good shake-up to get them moving in the right direction. Okay, Hex out of the U.S. JD, you want to read this one? Although the first name I believe is a Canadian.
uh, Daniel Holzer, Andrew Ketchum, Mikey McGee from Puerto Rico, Aaron Goodwin, Cameron Parkey, Cody Trujillo, Aaron Felton, and Gage Young.
Okay.
No Justin Pyan, notably.
Yeah, he's probably just hanging out here down in Los Angeles watching this with us on the stream. But it looks like, for the most part, this is a significant amount of their regular team. noticeable differences. Looks like Aaron Goodwin, Mike McGee, and Daniel Holzer. Everyone else, Andrew, Mr. Ketchum, Cameron Parkey, Cody, Aaron, and Gage are regular foam team members for Hex. Aaron, I'm totally blanking on the team that he played with in Tucson. Uh, Shoot, was he on Atlanta? Atlanta Threat, I think.
I
Um,
believe Goodwin was on threat.
yeah, and he
Andrew,
is,
if you're still in the chat, verify.
and Aaron is like, I'm so curious because one of the things that a lot of the Canadian teams are very good at is the rush, the opening rush. They are quick, they get those pitchbacks, but I don't know if anyone is as actually as fast as Aaron is. He is lightning. So I want to see how Hex does on those opening pitches against some of these other Canadian teams that have practiced it a little bit more. Um, do you guys know where Daniel Holzer's from?
Oh, he is from BC. No, I'm wrong. Manitoba. My apologies.
Excellent. Manitoba.
He plays on New Era, and they won nationals this past year.
Oh shit. Okay. Well,
Notably, also was part of the mixed foam team that won gold at Worlds this past August.
okay. So we've got some significant players and pickups on this team. Holzer obviously is a great player. You can't make that team without being of top quality. Aaron, an interesting addition with his speed, and he's also a pretty new player. So I can't wait to see where he goes. And then Mike McGee. Um, I think we had heard a rumor that he might not actually be playing in this tournament, but he is on the roster. So time will tell on if that's true or not. But a great addition as well because he, once again, it's one of those agility things. When I see people like him, like Densheko, like Matt Levine do stuff, I'm just like, not everyone can do that, and that's kind of what you need to elevate your game to the next level, especially in foam. But you have to be able to move. Movement is if you can't move, you have to have much stronger other elements because movement is just so important in the ability to stay alive in any match. What do we got? The chat blew up for a second there. Winnipeg, new era. All right, let's go Winnipeg. I love Winnipeg. I've been to Winnipeg. It's a Canadian place I've actually been to. Very
You
exciting
went
stuff.
to that's not good. Winnipeg's not the place you want to go to in Canada.
Shitting on Winnipeg immediately. I think it's cool. It's a cool place, right? It's north of North Dakota, where I'm from. Um, so I've been there a couple times. Moving on to another Canadian team here, we got Hard as Foam.
Oh,
They're a
wait,
regular at
Joey,
this
hold
tournament.
on.
What's up?
Joey, hold on. We have some director notes from Dustin Harwood. So, some information. Hard as Foam and the Grizzlies have very similar these, and apparently they are using this tournament to fight for the right to keep their respective jerseys.
Okay. I like this. So there's so we have an inside story going on. Some Grizzlies versus Grizzlies because I think they're both of their jerseys are based somewhat off of the Memphis Grizzlies style jerseys, if I'm correct. Um, and
A
Hardest
Vancouver
Foam is
Grizzlies
a
is
BC
the original
team, I believe.
iteration.
Yes, BC won.
Excellent. So this is the BC number one team. I'm gonna go ahead and read these team players because I've heard so many of these players. Once again, I just don't know faces of a lot of the Canadian teams, even though I now know names. So Hardest Foam, we've got Pete Decker, Patrick David, Shane Solberg, Cody Vinesh, Sam Coe, Chris Valance, Brandon Willier, Cody Burke, Derek Stevie, and Byron Wong. Any of those that I butchered very badly?
Clear might be Willier.
Willier. Okay.
I might be wrong.
Well, we've got options, so they can just pick whatever one is preferred. Uh, were they the Vancouver Grizzlies? That makes so much fucking sense. God. Okay, anyway. My brain just was like, oh, that is where they came from originally. Wild. I wish we just had the Supersonics back. I would prefer it to be in Seattle instead of Oklahoma. All right. But they are a regular at this tournament, Hard as Foam. As far as I understand, they've been a regular top competitor in Canada. Like you said, they're a perennial contender, whether they're at that level right now or not. Um,
Oh, they won silver at nationals last
okay,
year. They've been
so
playing great.
still one of the top teams in Canada, which is obviously why they're selected and invited to this tournament. And they've done really well in this tournament in the past. I believe last year they were second. I feel like that's right, unless it
Yep.
was an all US showdown, which I just don't remember offhand. Let's see if I can pull it up
Hold
real
on.
quick.
Research department's on it.
We're doing it.
Uh,
I know I
no,
have it.
Mavericks was second last year at the thing.
Mavericks was second. Yep, that's what I got here as well.
Yeah,
My bad.
Hardest Foam finished fifth.
Yep, Hardest Foam fifth. So let's just do a quick break here. Number 12, Northern Touch. This is the 2024 The Thing standings. Number 11, Misfits. 10, Dark Horse. Number 9, Future. Number 8, Anarchy. Number 7, Vendetta. 6, Hex. 5, Hardest Foam. So that's where they landed last time, was in the 5th place. Fortune, number 4, the hometown team, the host of the tournament. Shred at number 3, Mavericks at number 2, Outsiders at number 1. And can the Outsiders pull the Triple Crown? Is that what we're going to see this year? Who knows? Tune in live to The Thing 2025, live on Twitch. I lost where I was. The Thing. Got it. There's the teams. Okay. Moving on to Howl. Would you like to take this one, our dear
Kick-ass
Canadian
name.
compatriot?
Sure. We have Matt Ebert, Zion Leaf, Jason Sam, Kevin Chung, Hubert Wen, David Chang, Lucas Lau, Jackie Lung. I don't know half these guys. Kenton Wong and Milan Garcia.
I really, really hope that their logo is a werewolf. And if not a werewolf, like a very large
A
wolf.
wolf.
Yes.
I do believe it's like a wolf howling in front of the moon. If I'm
That's pretty
remembering
good. It's a
correctly.
very
they're
classic
a brand
t-shirt
new team.
that I owned so many times. Ooh, we got a new follower. Bo Tilly, thanks for following. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning into the stream as well. So you said this is a another follow. Sandwich. Thanks guys. Thanks
We
for
have a correction from the chat.
Uh-oh.
From OG Kimchi. No, it's actually they're trying for the 4-peat.
Oh shit, so they already did the three-peat. I didn't think they won the inaugural, because wasn't the first one in 2022? So I guess if they win it this time, they've won all of them. Somebody asks, why all the asterisks on that list? Oh, so the asterisks on that list that I just had up right here, these are the teams that are returning. So asterisks are a team that is coming back. Teams that aren't returning are like Vendetta, Anarchy, Dark Horse, and Northern Touch. Thanks for the follow just now, Dodgeball Hub. We appreciate you. Oh my god, everyone's following. Okay, so
That's what happens when you put out good content, Joey.
hey, we're trying here. I've also got it on stream that it plays Werewolves of London when somebody follows, so it's super perfect that Howl is when they started following. For Howl, going ahead, you said this is a new team, correct?
It is. So Hyper Men's was dissolved, and they took half of that team, and then they picked up others from BC. So this was kind of their like super team to try to compete against Hard as Foam. It did not work. And they have a lot of talent. Zion Leaf in particular, previously part of that mixed foam world champion squad.
Excellent.
It's
Any
really-
relation to Real Leaf?
Siblings.
Siblings! Keep it in the family. Okay, excellent names. Good job, Leaf family. Continue, please.
Yeah, they I watched their provincials and they didn't adjust well to other teams. So I think they have a lot of talent. It's just not clean yet. They got to get the strategy together.
Gotcha. And one of the things that I think Dodgeball, it seems like, I mean, a lot of sports are this way. You have the game plan that you go in with, and can you adapt in the middle of a game? So that's why I think if you play a lot of teams in round robin like this tournament where you will play everyone before you get to the championship day, it really makes a huge difference because you can see how you match up against each individual team instead of just basing it on videos or scouting. And then see how you adjust when you play them in playoffs. Because it is so hard to effectively adjust even halfway through a game. Um, so I'm curious to see them. Great name. And Zion Leaf, if I remember correctly, I was watching a Dodgeball live stream and just kept saying that's my favorite name. So he's my favorite player as of right now on this team. All right, so we're moving
Completely
on
agree.
now to Xander's team here. Shred, he's in the chat. Let's see how he feels about it. JD, you want to read these team names or these team players?
Yes. So we have Xander Simos, Kendall Smith, Frankie Gianetto, who wrote the USA Dodgeball rulebook. Thank you very much for that. Uh, Jeff Giovinco, Monte Cleveland, Dylan Cruz, Chris Wheeler, Sean Wheeler, and Jaquan Moore.
Excellent. So this is one of the best teams in the United States right now. They have been playing together for, I'm not exactly sure when this team started, but they've been playing together for, it seems like, 2 years now, at least, with a lot of the roster, with some additions being changed and juggled around a bit, like Xander joining the team and Demonte being added to the team. But the rest of the team has
And
been,
I think Kendall also
oh yes,
joined.
Kendall also coming off of Hex. So not quite the same team we've seen before, but they are playing some incredible dodgeball. As you can see, just looking at this team. Let me look at this real quick. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of the players are all national team players for the U.S. Everyone else has made it to the different uh, practice squads that have existed. We've got a number of gold medal winners here. So this is a very solid team, and seeing them play together, they are one of my top picks for this tournament as well. I want to see them continue to play like this because they're just so much fun to watch. Like I believe they won the Toronto kickoff tournament just like a month and a half ago or so. Anyway, Xander, that's a bunch of shout outs to your team. You got that. Moving on to the next team. We got
All right, Xander's
Misfits.
picking a fight in the chat.
Oh no! uh, we got,
Or it's mostly directed at me and Dodgeball Hub.
well, he just got mad at me, which is fine, okay? 99% the same team, even though that math doesn't actually check out, okay? Because, like, one person on a 10-person team makes you 9, like, doesn't matter. Misfits, we got Calvin Little, Jacob Struzik, Floyd Neal, John Bell, ooh, Heng Sun? That's what we're going to go with. Heng Sun,
Yes.
Gerard Monteo Thompson, Jordan Williams, Vincent Pham, Logan G, or Gee, we're going to go with G, Brandon Officer. Um, so, Misfits, local Seattle team, they have been invited to this tournament, I believe, basically since its inception and have consistently gotten better. Their performance seems to have gotten better in the tournament every year, and a number of these players have grown, making the national teams themselves or being invited, such as Calvin was invited this last year, and Brandon Officer being a key piece of the mixed foam teams run this year in 2020 or last year in 2024. I love how they play as a team. I think they are a fun team to watch. They're probably the only team in this tournament whose nope, I just got an Outsiders jersey. So I've got an Outsiders and a Misfits jersey. But um, I really want to see how well they do this year, and they've just been a great team and good sports from the get-go. You guys got anything else to say about the Misfits?
I don't know them
There you go.
Not,
except
not
Brandon.
without slowing down the stream.
Well, we're doing a pretty
Yeah.
good job. We're making much better pace than last time. But JD, you got anything to say?
Nope. I
Okay,
know very little about this team. They just have that scrappy underdog feel to them,
perfect. Okay,
but their chemistry is there.
They definitely have got some great chemistry. And now, going on to Fortune, which is the host team in this tournament. Technically, it's Dodgeball Seattle, but Lucas Boyle started this tournament along with the rest of his Dodgeball Seattle team. And they have one of my favorite jerseys in Dodgeball, so you guys should also send me a jersey, please. All right. Helen, you want to do this team's honors?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Michael Leones, Justin Pothoof, Jensen Fernandez, Ruin Chappell, Bill Fisher, Brandon Delamora, Lucas Boyle, and Mark Sweetgall. Is
Oh,
that right?
it, I,
Sweetgall?
the only person whose last name I don't really know is Justin, so I think you did as good of a job as any of us would have done. Um, JD, what do you got? Tell me about Fortune.
They don't need luck; they make their own luck.
Solid. Okay. Well, Lucas Boyle, co-captain of the mixed foam team, excellent player. Excellent. I think one of his strengths, once again, is his movement. Although it is in a different way. I think he doesn't play quite the aerial game that some of these other players that I've mentioned their movement on being so strong. But that doesn't matter if you are able to make the right decisions going side to side or getting low. He has an excellent throw. Some of the best throws on this team, the cannons to look out for, I would say, would really kind of any of them. But I like Ruan, Lucas, and Mark Sweetgall's throws. They have got some power to them, but there's not really anyone on this team who I think is a lightweight. And the biggest thing to look out for that I don't think other people who haven't played against him as long is Michael Leons' catching. That guy catches balls that you wouldn't expect to be able to be caught. And he does it in a pretty lackadaisical feeling manner, but clearly it's not because of how quickly you have to be able to be moving to grab those balls. It just makes it look easy. Um, so, you guys got anything else to say about this team? Fortune. I'm going to say
I'm
no.
good.
Moving on to the number one team for the last 3 years of this tournament running, we've got Outsiders. JD, you want to read this one?
All right. All right, we got Bo Tillman, who I think subscribed to you earlier. Thank you
Yes,
for
you did.
that. Jake Ebert, Logan Gehrig, Vaughn Kelly, Joe Martinez, Eric Jones, Kim Nguyen, who is also in this chat. Thank you for tuning in. Elijah Hashimoto and Shota Barbeau.
And once again, this is, I think, you really look at it, I believe um, this team is the same team as previous years or very, very close. I think the big difference is Bo is now on this team. And Xander is not on this team, which is a big difference maker in how he has played in the past. But I would say, as far as I can see from the roster, that's the biggest differences. Is we Xander has left to join Shred, and Bo is taking his place on this squad. So this has been a very consistent team for years now at this point, and they are great at dodgeball, and they've been like they're um, I guess their camaraderie is maybe better than almost any team in dodgeball. They're all basically family. Some of them actually are family. Logan, one of the younger players in this tournament. I don't know who is younger than him, but you can just see his development over this whole time has just gotten significantly better. I remember making a joke on the stream when I first saw him play, and I asked, "Whose child is that on the court?" Um, and then his mom actually was in the chat and called me out on it. I was like, "Oh man," um, but I expect this team to do very well in this tournament, and I know they're going for the four-peat. They want to be the only champions of the thing, and it's going to take a lot to knock them out of that spot. All right, guys, we've gone through the teams now in approximately 25 minutes, which is much faster than we did for the women's. Um, which, both good and bad. Proud of us, but we did a good job with the first one. Very comprehensive. So let's move on and figure out our standings. Do-do-do-do-do.
Oh boy.
Yeah, right?
I think I'm gonna let you guys take lead on this and I'll supplement.
Got it. You're gonna come in, you're gonna have some smart quips.
Sounds fair.
You're gonna be the tiebreaker when we're argumentative about teams. All right. Well, let's start from the bottom and see who we think is going to be like the bottom three. Let's just pick three teams that are think going to be in that area, and then we'll do top three teams, and then we'll fill in our gaps from there. So JD, I'm going to make you go first this time. Pick me your bottom three teams in this tournament.
Mi-
And then
Misfits.
Misfits. Boom.
Uh, Grizzlies. And I don't know much about the Canadian team, so I would like to comment more on that. That sounds more uh, intelligent, but just based on what we talked about, I think one of the newer. You said one of the newer Canadian teams is Howl.
Yes, she did say that.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I think the big game experience might not be there, or they burned themselves out in round robin. So I think Howl might be amongst the bottom
All right,
for
that's what
now.
going to start with our bottom three, and I'm going to message each of them individually and send them the clip of you picking them there. Perfect. Okay, so now our top
That's
three
fine.
teams. Well, what I'm going to say, I think you got to put Outsiders up there. I don't think they've dropped off in any meaningful way. I think they're coming for the four-peat. They're going to be a great team, and so many of them are also coming off of gold medal and silver medal runs at the World Championships in 2024. They're going to be a top team in this tournament. Shred, boom, same thing. They're going to
Mhm.
be a top team. I just don't imagine that not being the case. They are solid. Okay, and then I think we had
Like
decided because did we
Mavericks,
say Mavericks
probably.
was the gold medals from 2024, right? In Canada?
No, it was New Era and then
Fuck.
Hardest Foam.
Hardest
Were
foam.
actually.
All right. Well,
But
Mavericks.
Mavericks is always a contender.
Yeah. Well, they were second place in the thing last year, so I'm gonna put them up there. But then we're gonna put Hardest Foam. Boom. Silver medalist. New Era. Which let me. You said New Era. Hold on. Was that like a hodgepodge of one of these teams, or did New Era not exist?
No, New Era just is not coming to the thing.
Okay. So maybe they came up because they were there last year. Was that what happened?
Did New Era go last year?
No.
I did not know that.
Well, you know what?
No.
It's my fault. I'm mixing up things. Too much has happened on this stream. Okay. So
Hold
that's
on, I can look that up. I
it's
have. No, keep going while I look it up.
okay. So then we've got some of these teams that we're going to see fill out the gaps. So I think I don't. I feel like honestly that this is like not an unreasonable prediction of how this is going to spread out, but you've got Saiyan Elite, so we're going to put them. You said they were looking pretty good, and they're one of your top picks, so we're going to put them in the upper group for the moment. I'm going to put this next teams. It's always going to be tricky because Hex can play out of their minds, and then I've also seen them struggle, but they are playing so good right now, and they're coming off of their win in Tucson with basically
You
the
are
same
forgetting
team.
they don't have Justin Pyan.
That's true, but they have some great players on there as well. Like, and they've picked up some excellent Canadians to join them. So, all right,
Oh, and no, New Era actually turned down the invite this year, by the way.
gotcha. So they just weren't able to make it.
Yeah.
So that's a big factor. All right, well let's just
I
start
believe
filling
it
in some
was
gaps.
confirmed that Mickey is not coming.
He will not be going. Ooh, hot take, everyone. Not hot take. Tea. We've got some tea. You heard it here first, live on the stream. He's not going to be there. Which definitely is a not necessarily. It doesn't mess with their chemistry since he's not there, but he's such an excellent player that you'd prefer him to be there and figure out the chemistry along the way in the round robin. All right, so
I think it needs to be pointed out that Royals is taking their normal full roster,
gotcha. So that
and
is a
they've got a
very
ton of talent.
So, okay. Um, I guess we got to start. So, JD, which of these three bottom teams do you think's going to be on the bottom?
Misfits. Sorry, guys.
Misfits coming in as the 12 seed. Boom. Okay. So, I'm going to put personally I think Grizzlies is going to be I'm going to give them the 10 seed cuz I just really
That's
like what they're
fair.
doing. I like what they're building. I think Glenn is such a good player to help lead that team. We're going to put Howell in 11 for now. Fill out the bracket as we go. I'm not going to look at the chat for a minute because they're distracting me because they've got strong opinions and I appreciate it. But I need to focus on my bracket. Okay, so you said that Royals is bringing their regular team, so their consistency is going to be a huge factor. Future,
And they have coaches.
oh yeah, they're the team with coaches, which is exciting. Anytime you bring coaches into the game, I think, I mean, it's just the next level for dodgeball. We need coaches because when you're in the middle of a match, it is often, not impossible. Some of the best players in the world are excellent at it. But having just that extra set of eyes to notice the things that the team is doing beyond what you yourself are doing as a player is so very helpful. And coaches, more than anyone, it seems, are better at, I would say, breaking a negative streak, right? If something is going wrong, it's hard for a player on the court to effectively address it um, because it often feels like an attack more so than an objective statement. So when you bring coaches in, it's just leveling up the sport, and I'm excited that they're bringing coaches. Um, Man, this is going to be a tight one. Um, all right, who do you guys have at the number? What are we at? 9 seed.
Future. Sorry,
Future.
Megan.
Boom. Thank you. We needed to make some decisions, and I'm not being decisive enough at the moment. Okay. I think 8 seed. You know what? I'm going to put Hex in the 8 seed, and here's why I'm going to put him in the 8 seed. They are a
Sorry,
team.
Max.
One of the things that Hex does, and I've like it's either they run a great game and they do roll through round robin, or by the end of round robin they're a bracket buster team. So I see them maybe seeding lower than they would want to be, but still being in a great position to take it to the next level. That's I've seen them do that so many times where they come in and they're a very frustrating lower seed because they're such a good team. Um, we're gonna do Royals. Did I screw this up? We're gonna put them at 7. That's gonna
Oh,
be an unexpected team. Nope, people are gonna be like, "Oh, that's a wild bracket you've picked, Joey," and I'm like, "Yes, it is." Uh,
oh my gosh. I think Royals is like a team like they could if they were really really good, they could run the table. Like, but it really depends on the day.
all right. Well, then we'll see. We'll see this weekend live on Twitch.tv/dodgeball. Fortune. I'm putting them at the 6 seed. It's their home tournament. They have traditionally done very well in this tournament. They don't have to travel anywhere. I can see them playing a great round robin. Okay, in the 5th seed. You got any personal opinions on your 5th seed, guys?
I would probably put Zayn just due to the amount of pickups that they have. I
That
do
is
think they're going to be a team that's going to have like crazy games. Like they could easily, very easily be anywhere in the top 5. But
gotcha.
I just think due to not having most of their team.
Mhm. Okay. All right. I accept. I like them as a 5th seed. Okay. And then personally, what I'm gonna predict is I'm gonna go. All right, we're gonna do Mavericks at 4, unless anyone has strong objections to that. No
I'm
strong
honestly flipping
objections.
coins at these
At
at
this
these
stage,
teams for 4.
well, I'm gonna go ahead and here's my plan. I'm gonna give Canadians 3 and 4, and I'm gonna go Americans 1 and 2, and it's gonna be Shred. Shred's number 1. You're my number 1 pick, Shred. Coming hot off of Toronto. I want to see what you can do, baby. Outsiders, number 2. Man, Hex is going to be mad that I picked them at number 8, but this is going to lead to a super exciting matchup all the way down the line. All right. Um, okay, let's start with, I don't know, let's do the 12 versus 5. Saiyan Elite versus Mitz Fitz. What you
Yeah,
got?
it's Satan.
Uh, I think Saiyan, but it'll be close, but not too close, like a 3-point differential.
Gotcha. So a little bit of a blowout, but not like till the second half is kind of what you're feeling.
Yeah, I think it'll be close, but Saiyan will be pulling away.
Okay. I can definitely see that as a possibility. I think one of the things that Saiyan does have over a lot of teams is they do have a lot of speed and they are agile. Misfits, I don't see them moving nearly as much. They're great blockers, they're great defensive players, and if they can play a slow game, they'll wear you down. But I just don't think they would compete with the speed that Saiyan Elite has. Um, so I can understand that. And plus, we had him at the 5th seed, so that I see that playing out just like that. All right, let's go 6 versus 11. Howl versus Fortune. Um,
I mean,
you've got some
is
strong
Fortune's
opinions.
ball type, and that
Go ahead.
and uh, yeah, Fortune, their primary slash only ball type is foam, and this is their home. This is their home court. So I think we're hard pressed to guess Fortune at this point.
I don't think ball type matters because Canada almost exclusively plays foam.
I think it only matters with some American teams that are stronger in cloth or nose sting than they are in foam. But you're right, for this tournament, it really doesn't matter too much when we're talking about Canadian teams specifically. But uh, JD's right. Fortune basically only travels for foam tournaments. So it is their strongest ball type in their hometown where they have started this tournament. Hard pressed to pick them not to make it out of the first round. Um, but you said that Howell is a team that like is new, but you think they'll keep it close?
I definitely think I think Howl could totally surprise us. Like they're kind of similar to what I was saying about Feral AF,
Mm-hmm.
where like I have them ranked low just because we really haven't seen what they can do.
Yeah,
But again, if they can find their footing, like they definitely have the talent to do the damage.
got it. So it's one of those things of they they will probably win some games in some impressive fashion, but can they do that consistently enough to beat some of the more experienced teams?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, that's where I would give Fortune the advantage here is they once again I think they took second at USA Nationals in 2024, losing only to outsiders in the finals. Um, and Fortune's strength is I mean, they can make great plays, but they just are always in it. And I think unless Howell can really blow them out of the water and take a big lead, I don't think you break Fortune's spirit. And I think they keep coming until they just close it up and win in the last minutes. So, tight match. Fortune moving on. Um, Royals versus DMV Grizzlies. So, Royals is a team that you think could do some damage. Grizzlies, a fairly new team, but also they, as a unit, have been together for quite some time.
Uh, yes,
Who was Royals?
Grizzlies typically plays in the 8.5 pinch division, but they have transitioned into USA Dodgeball. Uh, and they did pick up Glenn Spacher to be their player coach, so to speak. That could lead to an interesting development and lead to some busted brackets. for the thing and their future tournaments going forward.
Gotcha. So, Halen, you have Royals, like, no question, taking this game, right?
Personally, yeah.
Okay,
Especially if LP is healthy.
gotcha.
Because he has been struggling with a knee injury for the past year, but I think it was really improving the last time I talked to him. If he's healthy, Royals are taking it. Yeah.
Okay.
But it would be a fun game for sure.
I mean, I don't want to take my Grizzlies team out of this yet, but I mean, you're just so confident with your Royals prediction. JD, you got any reason why I shouldn't pick Royals to move on?
Yeah, like I said, so Grizzlies have some interesting pickups. They have Glenn Spacher, as I mentioned. They also have Dan Alport and Eric Nelson uh, also playing for them. I think that addresses some of their needs uh, for in terms of positional play. So that'll be an interesting thing. I do think the possibility of a quote unquote upset is here and very present. So that is so I'm tempted to pick the Grizzlies.
Okay. Dang. Um,
I think if
Also, I
Royals
wanted you
plays,
to be the tiebreaker.
I've been trying
well,
to
I
avoid
just
it.
I just need to say I need to fight for them. I need to fight for the boys because I think Royals on a good day can make semis. Like I'm not like and as Megan said earlier, like they could potentially end up in finals. Like they're such a young and talented team.
Okay. Tight match. Royals is up, going into no block. Royals makes a mistake. They throw a catch to Matt Bosco, ties the game up. Royals are going to win it in the no block game. Boom. That's what we're having happen. Sorry, everybody.
Interesting.
I'm picking Royals. She's too adamant, and I can't. JD, didn't come in strong enough for the Grizzlies. That's what happened, which I
Vive
understand.
le
I
Québécois!
just wanted you to pick the tiebreaker. I wanted to force you to be the tiebreaker on one of these things so the chat can rip into you.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Okay. So up here, Hex versus Future. I know who I got winning this one is personally Hex. I think by the time we get to playoffs, I think they have put it together, and I think that they actually win this one pretty handily because I think they're going to be upset that they're the eighth seed. That's how I see that playing out. I think they come in strong, and they're going to be a very frustrating team in this quarterfinals round. Anyone against me on Hex taking Future?
No, sorry, Maxim.
Okay, too.
I agree. I think Future just needs to figure out how to close in those tight games. Personally, I want it to happen. I want Future to thrive. I have a lot of hope for that team. I just haven't seen the proof to fight for them yet.
Yeah, understandable. Um, Hex, I put him so low, and it's just like a lot of those players I play with, at least Aaron on my mixed team, he's great. And I want to see them play well. And in Tucson, they played so well together. It's the best I've ever seen them communicate. So I'm very curious to see how they do in this tournament. And this matchup that I've just created in this bracket was going to be an exciting match. Luckily, these are full, I believe, if I remember correctly for the tournament, full 40-minute matches for every round. So it's not like it gets longer once we get to semis. And that is going to be a tight match, the 1 versus 8 seed, Shred versus Hex. So let's get away from that one for a moment so my stress levels can drop. Let's go down to, let's do an all Canadian one. Mavericks versus Saiyan Elite, 4 versus 5.
Oh,
Making it exciting.
don't. Oh, no. This
Hey,
is a tale as old as time.
Song as old as Ron.
Thank you.
Wait, hold up. Wait, hold up.
Yeah,
That's copyrighted.
Don't get him
there's
copyrighted.
no
I do-
way that they're going to accuse you of doing such a good job there, JD, that they're going to copyright strike us, okay? I think we're fine.
It. Hey, considering the company that belongs to, they are not exactly shy about litigation.
You are correct. That is for sure. Um, I don't know who this person is. Rage Games 31 coming in. Future is potentially bullied by the tossback from Goodwin to Cody, in my opinion. I can absolutely see that. Um, I think if they start nailing that, that's a difficult opening rush to deal with. So I'm
Future
glad you
has
agree.
fast boys though.
What's that?
I don't think Future does have fast boys. I don't think as fast as Aaron,
Yeah,
but they do
Aaron's
have fast
on an
boys.
insane level. It's crazy. Um,
Yeah.
all right. So you think about Mavericks versus Saiyan Elite. I'm gonna go down here, and I'm gonna go with Outsiders versus Royals, and I think Outsiders is just gonna take it. I know I'm gonna just use my running the stream card and just say that that's what's happening. I feel
No,
like
that's valid.
Royals, like you said, is a team that could do a lot of damage, but I just don't think Outsiders. It's hard pressed for me to actually see them lose before finals, honestly. Um, but we shall see. They are a really good dodgeball team, and I love watching them play. They are so fun. But I think they take that one in a pretty. I'm not going to guess the score, but I think they play their game and they do handle business pretty dominantly because they need to make a statement to get in the groove. That's how I see this one going. Um, Okay, let's go down to the bottom of the bracket because this sounds fun. Hard as Foam, one of the most fascinating dodgeball names. I both love it and hate it because conceptually my
Yeah.
mind goes, why? But then I'm like, it's fun. It's a fun play. Um, but it's easily the biggest pun team name for like a high level team. Everyone else has much more serious
And it's
names. And then we've got Hard as Foam. Um, so I think that I'm gonna say it hurts
Which is a
them
complete
in this
contradiction,
situation.
by the way.
Yeah, my brain goes no. Okay, so hardest
You're
foam
just
versus
softies at heart.
yeah, I like that. Hard on the outside, foam on the inside. Um, okay, we got
So that's
fortune
a cloth ball.
fortune versus hardest foam. You said hardest foam came in second place at Canadian Nationals with I think approximately this roster, right?
Yeah, I think they only have one sub.
Gotcha. And Fortune, this is definitely their regular, consistent roster. Um, so it's just a matter of who do I think takes this matchup? I just I know who I want to win in this game. I just don't know who will win. This is like I think all of these quarterfinals are tight except for the one that I've already picked. We've gotten to the difficult level of the
Oh, I
quarterfinals.
think Hardest Home takes it.
Okay. She's got the Canadian silver medal team taking the U.S. silver medal team out in the quarterfinals. What do you got, JD?
I agree.
Oh, damn!
Yes, I love to see it.
Two against one. Okay. Canadians moving on into the semifinals. Hardest foam over Fortune. Sorry, guys.
I just feel like Hardest Foam is just getting more confident every
Mhm.
tournament. And their fundamentals as a team are insane. They don't even have a rush. This is the craziest thing about this team that pisses me off, honestly. They send one guy for 3 balls defensively every single time, and they're still as dominant as they are in this sport. They just don't even use a rush, which is an integral part of the game, and they still run the table.
Sorry. Right as you're saying that, which I think is a very good point, like to be that confident in your defense that you just refuse to participate in another team's offense is kind of amazing. But the comment from Fluffernutter in the chat cracked me up. Hard as foam, fast as maple syrup. I just, I love that, and I'm very proud of you for adding that to my brain, Fluffernutter. Um,
That's kind of the craziest thing is like they're not a fast team. They have Sam and Byron, and that's it. But it doesn't matter because they can catch and throw like nobody's business.
Yeah, I have seen that's like the number one highlight I see from Hard as Foam is somebody making a really ridiculous catch and then swinging an entire match. That's the thing I keep seeing in their matches on the internet when they post things. It's great. Um, okay, so Excellent. We've figured out one half of the semifinals. Let's figure out the other half. The tighter matches, I think, in all of our brains. We're going to go ahead and just bust in and make you help us with the Canadian pick first. Mavericks versus Saiyan Elite.
Oh, hey. I always hear of the legend that is Jeremy Bizzle. I can't say I've really seen it. But I think purely based on consistency of team, I have to go with Mavericks.
I think that is a fair assessment. Oops, I'm just going to double check the team rosters super quick. Okay, that's what I thought. I just was like, I couldn't remember which team picked him up. So you got Mavericks taking this one because of.
Yeah, it kills me. Like, they're both such insane teams, and the Saiyan boys do have a piece of my heart. Like, they're always like, they're just so fun to cheer for. But Mavs just have that experience and they have that grit, and I think they're hungry for a win lately for sure.
Gotcha. Okay, JD,
Yeah.
do you have any counterpoints you want to make?
Not counterpoints, but supplemental points. Saiyan Elite, love your name, but I think Mavericks takes it.
Ah! Okay, well, that makes it easy for me. Hard for your heart, I understand, but easy for me in the bracket decision because I was unsure. I like it being a close match. I like it being. Oh, shit, what did I do? I just spun it in a wild circle. Boom. Mavericks. Moving on to the semifinals. Excellent. Okay, so in the match that I hope doesn't offend any of my friends, we've got Shred versus Hex in the quarterfinals. I think this, for me, would probably be the game other than the finals that I want to see the most out of this tournament, honestly. Is Hex has been around for a minute, but they've had some significant roster changes, some shuffling. Some players from Hex are now playing on Shred. And have really found a good home and a really good fit there. So I feel like these rosters have maybe settled a little bit, and these are going to be their rosters for the rest of the year, barring tournaments people aren't able to make, etc. So this, I think, is going to be an incredibly close quarterfinal match. Um, I want to hear your guys' opinions, and then I will give my opinion on who I think is going to take this one, because I do have a pick. I just want to hear you guys first.
I think it's just an easy
I like-
Shred, personally.
Damn. Okay. Coming in hot. I like it. I like a hot, confident take. It really helped us with Royals. So, she's got Shred. JD, do you have a differing opinion?
I also have Shred. I think it'll be a relatively close match. And I would just like to point out to chat, Joey's making us go first. That way, all the heat will be on us. So he's just making us his sacrificial lambs at this point.
You know what? It's not totally true, but it's not untrue. Okay. Okay. So you got Shred
There it is,
from
chat. Clip
both
that.
of you. So I do think Shred wins this. I think Shred is the number one team. I picked them for a reason. I think they're highly motivated. They want to continually improve and show who they are. I don't think anything other than gold is acceptable in their mind. So I think they're going to really come hard. Hex is a team that's been there, done that for quite some time. I just don't know if they've got the same level of energy coming into this, even with the new pickups to add that motivation. So I can see Shred taking it. I'm not thinking it's going to be an easy walk like you came in with, but you've seen Shred play. They are an incredibly good team. I think it's probably much closer, especially with that exciting opening rush that we're going to have with Aaron going on it. So, yep, that's what I got. I got Shred over Hex in the quarterfinals, and I think, honestly, I think Hex. Ooh, I could see Hex taking fifth because what they end up doing in this tournament is they do a seeding tournament after you lose. So I could see them being the number 5 team.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Fair,
We
fair.
ranked that team 8th.
I did because they have a rough round robin. That's generally how they do it. They're either the number one
Are
team
they
or
not playing? But all teams are playing each other. Like every team has a rough round robin.
somebody's got
I
to
think
be
he's saying
eighth.
they don't usually. Anyway, just stick with what we know. Stick with what we know. Plus, if we look at standings from last year, they didn't make top 4. It's an easy move.
They took fifth though, didn't they? Isn't that what I said? No, Hardest Foam took fifth. You're right. Um, moving on. Okay, so we got
Took
exactly
sixth
what we thought.
last
The
year.
top four teams all moved on. Half Canadian, half American. Okay. I want to do Outsiders versus Hardest Foam first. I know who I got going on this one. I'll go first since JD called me out on it a moment ago. Um, I think Outsiders is.
Technically, we all were.
I think Outsiders is just. I think they're, like I said earlier. I think they're a very difficult team. I think they're too agile. I think they're too quick, and I think they've just got one of the best, or a couple of the best players in the entire world on their roster, and I just don't see Hardest Foam being able to beat that kind of speed and that mobility. I have Outsiders winning this one by at least 3.
Oh, okay. I do think this would be a really interesting matchup to watch because I don't think Hardest Foam would even try to get into a foot race with them. Like, I think their play styles would be really interesting to clash with each other. But I do unfortunately agree. I do think, like, on the men's side, at a world's level, Canada hasn't performed at the level that I know we can the past little bit, and America really has stepped it up. So, yeah, I can't necessarily argue with my whole heart that Outsiders wouldn't win this game.
Fair.
But I do hope, and I hope and I pray for a Canadian final.
I understand completely. Um, Dodgeball Hub in the chat has told me that there will be no eggs for me after that prediction, which is disappointing, but it's okay because I don't really like eggs. Haha! It's fine. Except in French toast, because French toast is fucking incredible. It's one of the best foods on the planet. JD, you have a very easy decision to make. Do you want to pick Outsiders or do you want to be wrong?
I'm gonna take Outsiders by
Okay.
2.
Outsiders.
Yeah,
by
I think
I
it'll
don't
be.
think it'll be a blowout. But I think it'll be close.
I do think it'll be a close 2. I don't think by 3 is fair.
Okay, that's totally fair. And then when I'm right, it'll be fine, and I'll feel good about myself. But I can accept that it could be closer because at this point, all of these teams are great teams. These are all highly competitive teams. One play goes any different direction. Winning by 3 is not an easy task at this point with these teams we have in contention. So we got Shred versus Mavericks. I'm not going to go first on this one because I did it last time. And tell me, who's taking this one?
Oh, I think it's a toss-up. I do. I think it's a toss-up. Like, it really depends. If Mavs plays the way that they can, Mavs can win the tournament. Like, it's true. But I do think they've been struggling lately. Like, Mavs, in my opinion, has some of the best players in the world. Like, Garcia Silvera, one of the best players in the world when he's on, in my opinion. Jason Mergler, right there too. Like, incredible, incredible players. They do have some pickups with Nick Grenier and Joel, who are very talented hard throwers. But I think I have to give the edge to Shred only due to kickoff results from the Toronto kickoff.
She's picking an All-American final, ladies and gentlemen. She did it. She's hoping for Canadians, but she picked Shred. I forgot how many players Mavericks are bringing to this tournament. So they're going to be a pretty well-rested team. So that will definitely play in. But I think Shred has almost a similar amount, maybe one less. But excellent. JD, do you disagree or do you agree?
I think It'll be Mavs in OT.
Ah, shit. Okay.
A
what a
man after my own heart.
what a prediction. Okay, Mavs in OT. She's got Shred. I think you literally just did this to make me be the tiebreaker. Um, which
Oh, that was just an added bonus.
okay. Well, here's what I think is going to happen. I think that Shred is going to ride that wave and take out the Mavericks into the finals. I think that's what's going to happen. Um, I think I have a significant bias because I've seen Shred play a lot more. Um, but I just really like what they're doing as a team. I like their energy, and they have been playing so very well. And generally, when they go to a tournament, they make the semifinals. That seems to have been their thing for basically the last year. They don't usually drop out before then, and I don't anticipate that happening again. So I'm going to give Shred into the finals versus Outsiders, which has essentially at this point become our regular finals in the U.S. It's these two teams are who face each other. It's consistently these guys because they are Team USA. Most of
I
that.
said my crazy pick now.
What's that? Yes.
Royals versus Hardest Foam.
That's what you think for
That's my crazy. Would be so fun to see.
different version
Final.
of this bracket. Okay.
Yeah, in an alternative universe.
I think what it takes for that to happen is that outsiders have to be very on their heels, and Royals comes out hot to take an early lead, so outsiders have to battle back. But I just don't see that happening. But would it be exciting? Hell yes. I'm all about exciting. Um, and I think, as Xander said here in the chat, he agrees with an ellipsis. Um, his thoughts, which I totally understand, is if this is how the bracket ends up, he could see this being the finals. But if they both end up on one side of the bracket, which of course is always possible, you drop a close game, you tie a game, brackets shift dramatically at that point. Um, so for this final, if both of these teams make it to the finals, I find it fascinating. Does Xander on Shred pull a full Tom Brady and just say, I don't need you guys to win the thing? Does he take it all the way, put it on his shoulders and say, let's do this? Does Outsiders say, there's no way we're losing this? We've been in every finals thus far, so let's finish the job. Um, it's close every time. The last time I saw these two play each other, I believe, was at FDC, and Shred took that in a pretty tight match. Um, so, I don't know. JD, give me some input on these American teams in the finals.
I actually think the streak ends here. Fred takes it.
Okay. Shred. Halen, what do you got?
Oh boy. Shred 1 kickoff. Outsiders has been the trend previously. How hurt is Hashimoto? That's my real question. Because if the rumor mill is right that he's fighting an injury, Elijah is lefty probably until finals. Okay. See, that's what I'm talking
Yeah, if he's
about.
which that
But
is,
at the same time, I've been the person that's injured, and then finals comes, and then you're throwing it as hard as you can anyway, and you deal with the injury afterward.
which is a very Eli thing to
That's
do.
That's what ibuprofen is for.
Exactly, exactly. Ah, da 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 da. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with Outsiders. For
Okay.
Pete.
For
I
Pete.
feel like, but like again, I think it's a coin toss. Really, on paper, I actually wrote Shred first, but now I'm saying Outsiders.
Damn. We flipped her. What happened? Okay. Outsiders, Shred. It's a split for you guys. Well, I think I really do think that this one is going to come down to a very tight match. I think it goes all the way to no block. Who knows if it goes to overtime from there? But I think it gets that far because it seems to always get that far with these two teams. I I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say sorry, Bo. I got Shred winning this one. I think that's what's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be an insane finals um, because both of these teams are some of just the best in dodgeball that I watch on a regular basis. And I think, honestly, part of my bias at this point is Xander's fucking videos that he keeps making. Um, I just keep seeing what Shred is up to, and it's exciting to me. And I think if
What about
Shred,
Shota's videos?
um, he doesn't put them on YouTube. So there you go. Take that, Shota. That's the reason I haven't been watching your videos. Um, but I just think that both of these teams are bringing what we need to dodgeball. High quality play, really good camaraderie, really good honesty. I want to see more teams like that, and they've both been really working on building teams. Outsiders has been building for like a decade at this point, and Shred has constantly been fine tuning it, but really has decided we're gonna get there together, and I love that attitude. Um, Yeah, so there we go. I feel like I'm going to go a score of, I think it's going to be a pretty surprisingly low scoring game because I think they're going to draw a couple of these out. I'm going to say 5-4. 5-4. That's what I'm going to say.
That's a
5-4 Shred.
slow match.
Yeah, which when they play each other, it can be in spurts, but I feel like you get those first three out and they're just very hard to hit from that point forward.
Okay. I hate slow
That's
finals.
fair.
I mean,
I'm gonna say 7-6.
okay, I don't have a problem with that. I think that'll be exciting. Um, I think someone will go on a catch streak. I just don't know who it's gonna be. That seems to, and it'll ruin someone's day. Is what'll
Monte.
happen. It could be anybody.
I think it'll
Uh,
be.
all right, guys, we did it. We got Shred in the championship match, taking it over Outsiders. Um, God, well, thank you guys so much. This has been really, really fun. I'm so glad we got you on here because that just added a whole new dimension instead of just JD and I talking to each other, which is still fun.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to be here. I'm really interested to see what our group standing does, especially compared to like what I wrote down yesterday
Right? It'll be
and
super
and
curious.
where it goes. I'm I'm counting on upsets. Like we have so many teams that are capable of doing anything, as we've talked about, because the top from the US and Canada. But yeah, I'm very excited to watch. I'll be watching the playback during my night shift because I will not be awake to watch the thing while it's live. But
Totally
yeah,
fair.
it was a pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks, JD, for being here. I'm going to try and see if we can just raid somebody. Nobody I'm following is online right now because it's late. But I want to try to do it because I haven't done it in a while. And we have 11 viewers at the moment. So let's go. Let's try.
Hey, that's double the amount of viewers we had for the Tucson thing.
Right?
So
We're doing
you know,
okay.
huge improvement. Oh wait, hold on. And we have 4 viewers on the JDF YouTube. So 15 viewers. All right. Up.
Woo!
We
All right,
are 3x.
let's just go and raid. I don't know. Let's go to this beach volleyball thing. Let's do it. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great night.